This is Valguero, where the cliffs are high and the trenches are deeper, and every biome feels like you get a little bit of every Ark all in one. From snowstorms to shadowy aberrant caverns, to Deinonychus that treat your armor like a snack, this map throws everything at you. I want to challenge myself to build a kingdom fit for a king, and beat Ark Ascended's new alpha boss Grendel, a giant deranged mega raptor that likes to wear its enemies and hang them up in its lair. This is going to be a tough one. I'm Fynixmech, and this is 100 Days on Valguero. On day 1 I spawned in, fresh character, full of hope. Since this was my first time on this map and I didn't know what to expect, I picked Beach Zone 3, figuring it would be an easier time on the beach.
First time spawning in, it's pretty barren. There's nothing here.
I look around and there's nothing. Not a tree line, not a dodo, not even a distant scream of something trying to eat. Just sand, water, and the corpse of a turtle.
This guy's dead.
But I'm not about to let this beach full of depression stop me from getting some tools to help start this adventure. So I blooded up my knuckles on this driftwood to get some wood and thatch to make my first tool, the stone pick. Progress! Then I go ham on some rocks for flint and make a hatchet. You know, the standard Ark behavior. Break your hands, make tools, pretend that's a win. I got stopped along the way because of a trash bird who wanted to make his presence known.
Look at this guy.
With this barren beach, I was probably looking like a whole snack to the bird, especially next to this decaying turtle, which I found gave keratin, spoiled meat, and hide. A couple more wax on this driftwood for some thatch, and I know I had enough for a stone hatchet. Now, I needed a way to defend myself in the form of some spears. Wood was no problem, but I needed fiber, and there was 0 bushes around. Apparently, Beach Zone 3 is also bushless Zone 1. So I searched, making my way down the beach, being careful not to alert any nearby predators. And then I found a moss chops, which was a great early tame until I saw what it wanted.
Prime fish meat. Don't have that.
Further down the beach, I finally spotted some trees, which had some bushes around it so I could get some fiber and berries. I also found a neat surprise.
What's this thing? Oh, carrots!
This seemed like the more poppin' part of the beach. Good enough place to start getting some hunting done. So I finally crafted some spears and started taking out some of the easier creatures on the beach.
Get some hide.
So I can make things like bolas, which I could potentially use to get myself a flyer.
Ugh.
Well, maybe one a bit higher than 25. But before all that, I needed to learn the engrams for some clothes and a house. I continued my dodo slaughter along the beach while also running up on creatures to see what I could potentially tame.
What are you, 20?
Ugh.
25?
Ugh.
I then completed the task of dealing 1,000 damage. This was part of the Lost Colony DLC pack, where there was a new skill tree system.
My first chance playing with this, so I don't even understand what any of this does. Okay, so I might as well just start working on these too. Probably helpful.
I analyzed my surroundings, noting there were some bushes and trees here, as well as some smooth little rocks in the water, which would probably give me some little pieces of metal. This was a good place to get started. I needed to work on some thatch structures, which required thatch and wood. While crafting up the pieces, it gave me enough levels to learn the mortar and pestle, bed, and bolas. I placed down a 2x2 thatched foundation with some walls. Then I instantly changed my mind.
Actually, you know what? I want all these to be windows. I want to be able to see. I want to be able to see what I'm doing.
It's not paranoia, it's situational awareness. While placing walls for the roof, I noticed just how amazing the sky looked at night.
This is beautiful. Wow.
I finished up the night by placing down a ramp and a roof.
Alright, just like that, we got our little house done.
Placing down a campfire to cook some meat and storage since I was getting bogged down by the items in my inventory. I needed a few more resources to make a bed for respawns.
There we go with the bed. End the night off. Some freshly cooked steaks. Day 1 with no clothes.
I wanted to start day 2 off fresh with some clothes and a cut and a dye job. I realized I don't have any scissors, but I could get the mullet. I could also make the cooking pot for some dye. I needed water for dye, and I needed water skins for that, and that needed fiber. So I went on an early morning picking fiber frenzy. I made up 5 water skins and cooked up some dye, then got interrupted in the middle of my process.
Guys, get real close here. Look at him, little 145. A trash bird. Get out of here, man. Alright, where did my dye go? Oh, come on. This guy, I don't have anything to defend myself against him. You just dive in the window?
Alright, I'm gonna need some better weapons to deal with this one.
It's a good time to make a bow. Yes, learn the bow. Learn arrows. Alright, we're gonna have to run out. Get away from me. Stupid bird.
So as I gathered resources for a bow, I decided to also make some bolas. The trees were scarce though.
Man, that's just such a hard problem right now. I should go see what that mod shop's wants. Look at this guy, he's just flying around my house.
Before talking to the mod shops, I finished up making a bow with some arrows and tried to snipe this thing out of the sky.
Oh, this is gonna be hard. Oh, I got him. Oh, what do you take? My knuckleberries! The best stuff.
I got one hit, but it was going to be too difficult with a regular bow, so I attempted the bola it.
Oh, I got him. I got him.
Then I proceeded to poke it to death with the atrocities it committed against me. Killing it gave me some more levels, which I looked over what I wanted to learn next. I considered making a raft so I could do some exploring, but I needed some help with some resource gathering. I ran over to a nearby moss shops to see what they wanted.
Raw prime fish meat, huh?
Okay, well, that tame still isn't happening right now, so I'm gonna get back to the dye so I can look more like myself.
Can't dye my beard, but at least cut my hair.
I couldn't even take a second to admire my hair before getting assaulted by a thief.
Ah! This guy.
So I had to run it down.
Got a little stinky baby with you. There's like a bunch of things chasing me right now.
Oh, you got your whole family involved? Get your kids, get your grandma?
Oh, there's so many. Why there's so many? So many little stinky pagos in a dilo.
So anyways, I started shooting.
And
And then one of the pagos started to tame from stolen goods.
some of my stuff. This can't be my first aim. No way. So dumb. All right, in my face.
I managed to take down all the stinkies of the beach. A little gooped up and bruised, but I'm okay. I gathered up what arrows I could, then I saw there was another beef happening right in front of my house.
You get your kill.
That's free food. I made another storage box for my items and cooked up some meat and fish. I was gaining levels pretty quickly from everything I was doing, and I wanted to get metal tools pretty soon. I did need to make a smithy for that, which I would need a forge to smelt metal in order to get ingots. I was about to start smashing some rocks for some metal bits when off in the distance I saw a blue drop.
Look, I can get to it. Let's try.
So I made my way down the beach, towards the drop, checking the levels of all the dinos I passed, hoping for something good. I jumped into the water for a safe landing, then passed the dilo only to find out I needed to be level 30 to open this blue drop.
Alright, let's see what this can get us. Oh, level 30. So it's not going to get us anything.
The dilo didn't like how I disrespected him, and he had to let me know it.
These dilos are always 150. Come on.
So I quickly had to take out this dilo before checking out my level to see that I was only level 21.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to open that.
The rest of that Super Dilo's family was on the beach, and I had to take them out as well. Some with arrows, some with spears to the face.
Alright. Give me these arrows. Alright. Did it. Took all these guys out, and not enough for the truck.
I explored some more in this direction, and I found that it was completely barren. So I made my way back to the hut, taking out dodos and dilos along the way. The dilos were a menace on this beach, as they were harassing the moss shops I decided to save. Unfortunately, I had been using my bow too much without paying attention, and the durability broke mid-fight.
And all these dilos are like the highest levels ever. Uh-oh.
I started whacking away at it with the tools I had at hand.
Shh, whack it with a pick. Whack it with a pick. It's okay. Maybe it's not okay. It might not be okay.
I had to run away for now to get some fiber to repair my bow.
It's fixed now.
I checked on the moss traps I saved, and it wanted rare flowers, something else I didn't have. I went back for round 2 with the dilo, and it healed up before I could take it down. Maybe with this dodo and my powers combined, we could take it out together.
Come on, Dodo, you and me can get this guy.
I pumped all my arrows into it and a spear straight to the dome, and this thing was still trucking around.
That's all I got. That's all I got. Uh-oh.
I needed more fiber again for some weapons. Round 3, and I finally took it out, along with this dodo I seemed to upset as well.
I got it. You gotta go too.
I was now a high enough level for metal tools, but I needed a tame.
It's fiber's the biggest problem, so I can get a moss chopped. Will help me definitely with the fiber.
Let's ask this one in front of me.
Pinto berry. I can do that.
I popped a berry in my bar and I fed it to the moss chops for it to be mine.
First, tame. Moss chops. First thing, Moschops, I'm just on its head.
I immediately got in a fight with some Pegos, which were no match. Then I wondered, since Moschops were great at gathering all sorts of things, could they gather these free carrots? The short answer, no.
I mean, it looks like it's just grabbing it. It really does. That doesn't work. I gotta do this by hand. That's cool, I guess.
Best stick to what I can gather, and that was lots and lots of fiber and berries from the surrounding bushes until I was stuffed full. Once back at my hut, I gave my Moschops the name Tiffany, then hit some rocks to get to work on a mortar and pestle so I could get some narcotics going.
Time to make some narcotics, because that'll give us some more levels as well.
I placed down my mortar and pestle, and then I went over to a rotting turtle to get a bunch of spoiled meat, keratin, and hide. Dropped the spoiled meat and the narco berries inside the pestle and got those drugs going. I needed a flyer next, but every pteranodon I found was either a or a don't bother.
20. Oh my gosh. These levels are so bad except the Dilos.
It sucks having to run up on each one, but without Crystal for a spyglass, this is my life right now. So it looks like I'd have to venture a little bit further to find a better pteranodon. Since I've been killing creatures this whole time, I had plenty of hide to make a full set of hide armor, which would offer me more protection for my journeys. I didn't want to go exploring at night, so I smashed together the resources to make a forge. Then with the little bits of metal I acquired, I got to smelting for some ingots. I needed only 5 to make the smithy, which was next on my crafting list. Between everything, I was now level 30, so no blue drop will see me be the fool again. I gathered all I needed for the smithy and went back to my hut for the ingots to craft the smithy.
Day 2 smithy. You don't know me.
I then proceeded to unlock all the metal tools and taming gear I needed. I wanted to get a metal pick first to make it easier to gather bits of metal from the nearby stones.
Oh, I can't fit through my door now.
Since I kinda put the smithy in the way. So I changed to a double door for my wide body. I thought Tiffany would fit in here now, but the smithy was in the way for her too. So it'd be best for everyone if the smithy just moved over here. Now Tiffany can be cozy. I hit a river rock to get 2 pieces of metal, which would be enough for an ingot for a metal pick.
What you know about day 2 metal? Early morning of day 3 metal.
And on the early morning of day 3, I had my metal pick. I then was able to get a bit more metal pieces from the river rocks. 20 pieces would be enough to make some ingots to make a crossbow, then I could get some proper taming done. I needed more arrows, so I made as many as I could and then ran out to get more resources for more. That's when I hit another task to craft 100 arrows, which just kind of reminds me how much fiber rules my life. While I was out, I found that the little white rocks with the seaweed on them give better metal yields. Plot what I had in the forge and I took out what smelted and I had enough to make the crossbow. I then had to do a little parkour in my hut in order to access my mortar and pestle to grab the narcotics. Now I can make trank arrows. Crafted 26 of those bad boys, but I wanted to stay narked up. So I took Tiffany out to get some more narco berries. And then I set off into a new direction of the beach to explore and find some good level pteranodons.
Well, are you 20? Oh my gosh.
I crossed the river at what looked to be the narrowest part, and doing so the Ark gods blessed me.
What level are you, Pteranodon? 140. Taming it.
Well, I just had to bolo this girl, and 2 tranks to the head and she was down. I needed to find something that gave prime. I wasn't killing a Brano with these weapons, but a baby Bella was more my speed.
Do you have any kids? You do. You have this little kid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't come over here with whatever stuff you got.
There was a panic parasaur about, but I wasn't going to let that distract me from giving this Pteranodon some prime. I didn't want to take any chances with this tame since it was going to be a huge boost to my mobility, so I just crouched down and waited for it to get back up. Good thing I did, as I had a trash bird lurking about that I'd bola and took out quickly to not alert any of its friends. I waited and waited, while this nearby Brano added to my anxiety since it was a bit agitated by something.
Oh, please don't come over here.
Also, another trash bird started getting a little too close for comfort, so I got my bola revved and ready while I was waiting for that last feed.
Away. Yes. Oh, is your neck okay?
Alright, I'm taking her straight out of here.
Now we just need to get some levels so we can get the saddle. I think I just gotta take out some babies. A baby? Yes.
I wanted to have some Pteranodon backups, but I wasn't about to search for another level running up to each one.
Oh, it's a male, but it's a level 15. That sucks. We don't even need a thing for this. I'm gonna shoot you right in the face right here.
So I knocked out this low-level male just to try and get a baby with all the higher Pteranodon stats.
Wink.
I tamed it up with some leftover prime.
But this means we'll be able to fly. We'll take us all over the world.
I started day 4 harvesting many rocks to just have spark power going on in the background for some XP. I had 3 levels to go and the dinos of the beach were going to help with that. I picked a fight with a 150 Parasaur, which probably wasn't the best since it was considerably way faster than me.
They're on too much, too fast. This is not the best way to do this. This ain't it. This ain't it.
But it got me another level. I went back to slow small guys for a bit before using bolas for a Parasaur. But then this nosy Manta wanted to see what was up, so I gave it a few arrows to his face.
Why not? This Manta wanted some of the business.
They gave some good XP. Good for me since their friend wanted some of it as well.
Oh, nice. We got 2 levels. I think that's it. We got enough to learn the Pteranodon saddle. Nice, let's go.
I knew I had everything but the keratin to make the saddle. So I gave Leonardo and Michelangelo a visit for the half shell, which gave me enough to make a saddle.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to breed these 2 together. Hope we get an egg with some good stats here. Enable mating. I'm sorry you have to... This guy kind of sucks. I know. We get that egg.
I got an egg that was too cold, so I brought it inside by the fire to incubate. But it was also too cold in here for it to work.
Can I put you right in the fire? Too cold still. What if I shut the door? Oh, it's incubating. Alright. Too cold. Alright, we gotta wait till the morning to do this. I just want to see if it's a good egg before we go out.
I wanted to see, but I also wanted to go out and explore as well. This would have to be put on the back burner for now. I named the Pteranodon Sparky due to its electric yellow color, and now I could check out my surrounding areas. I was on the lookout for crystal, but found some obsidian instead. So I picked off a couple pieces before checking out my old bully, the blue drop.
That's a lot of raptors.
It was surrounded by a bunch of raptors that I tempted with my tasty Pteranodon so I could move in quickly and grab the drop. Overall, an okay drop for me. I dropped my stuff back at home and then made a pair of scissors so I can look a little bit more like myself. On the morning of day 5, I went out again to search for crystal. I discovered there were many Doedicurus and Ankies around, so finding some utility dinos was going to be a breeze. I know it wasn't too far from my hut, but this place looked amazing. I could see myself living here, but I'd have to build up some defenses for creatures like the Megaraptor, which seem to roam all of these lands. Moving ahead a bit further, I found a huge crystal-looking structure.
Oh, this looks like crystal if I ever saw some.
I chipped myself off some, and then I got some wood and fiber and finally constructed a spyglass. And now I could safely see the levels of all the dinos around me. I wanted to tame one of these new creatures, the Megaraptor, but not a level 15. Shortly after, I found some Deinonychus and their nest, which I wanted to definitely grab some eggs too. I was overwhelmed as I looked at all the levels of the dinosaurs, as well as taking in all the sights of the cliffs. There was a point at this time I considered taming a kangaroo, and I found some decent levels.
140?
They would be a good tame to haul around a lot of resources quickly, but this was still mostly a day for scouting. There were so many potential base spots and cool locations within these cliffs. I found lots of metal as well, which I loaded up Sparky with as much as I could before taking myself home for the night to smelt it. My beef with the blue drops continued on day 6, as it showed itself, but I didn't see it quick enough. As I approached it, it despawned rudely.
Oh.
I decided that today I would get a utility dino, and I found some high-level Ankies, but that was nothing compared to the max level Doedicurus I found.
150 Doedicurus.
I was going to need to clear the area of any threats, but before that, I wanted to get this purple drop.
Oh, I need to be 45.
Okay, well now I have a new bully, so instead of doing that, I led this 150 Doedic over to a safer area. I started shooting arrows into its armored dome, and it really wasn't interested in me.
Where are you going? You're already running? No way. No way you're running.
That was all deception though, as I went to go pick up a friend, and then they started to attack me.
Oh! Oh! Alright, alright.
Then a raptor tried to get in on the mix. I kept shooting it in the head, completing another task until it finally went down.
Come on. Yes! It's down.
I ran home to get a stack of mayo berries and picked some nearby rock carrots since veggies work a little bit faster than berries. I left them to tame and I went out to see what else I could tame and decided to steal Deinonychus egg instead. It was pretty easy since there were none around, but it was a poop level.
Level 20, ew.
I went back home to find Tiffany laid an egg, which Moschop eggs are useful in making superior kibble. I was going to need a place to store all my unhatched eggs and perishables, so I needed to make a preserving bin. While I was out collecting what I needed, some other Moschops were running around, and I found a male that wanted rare mushrooms. Having a pair would boost egg production. I gave him a mushroom and then let him trip on my front yard. I made the preserving bin and plopped all my eggs, food, and spark powder. On day 7, I took mushroom moss chop out to gather lots of fiber and narco berries for more narcotics. I was gaining a lot of dinos quickly, and I would need a way to transport or move them a bit easier to a permanent location. I needed to look into getting an RG next. Unfortunately, I was still a ways off from making the saddle, being only level 42 when I needed to be level 62. I thought maybe cryopods would be the answer, but they're kind of expensive and I'd have to be level 50 to make them. I thought if I made some spike walls, I can keep gathering dinos, keep them safe, and it would help me with levels. So I crafted myself a wall of spikes. By the time I was done, the Doedicurus was tamed, and now it was time to escort her home, which takes approximately 7 years. She refuses cliffs like they're cursed ground, but eventually we get there.
Okay, there it goes. There we go, yay! Nice. No! Oh, come on. Alright, dingus.
I made up a saddle, and I realized I didn't even have a tribe name yet. Named the tribe Phoenix Rising and the Doedicurus Guac and Roll due to its green and yellow coloring like an avocado. On day 8, I started learning some stone structures because I wanted to be able to make a trap for an RG. I may not be able to ride it yet, but it didn't have to stop me from taming one. I took Guac and Roll to gather a bunch of stone and completed another task from it. These rocks gave a lot of sand as well, but I didn't need it, so I just dropped it all, making more room for stone to take advantage of the Doedicurus' reduced weight ability. I finished building the pieces of the trap, and I crafted some more stone arrows. While I did that, I looked at my skill tree, seeing that I had one task left in 2 columns. Killing an alpha raptor would definitely help me with the levels I needed, but in case I couldn't do that, then thatch structures would also be an easy one to do. I headed off in the direction of the green obelisk to see what I could find. I found a lot of the same lands and gangs of Deinonychus, but no nests. I then found myself in a land with some other high-level dinos.
145 racks!
I needed to be better prepared for these dinos, as they take a lot of tranks and food to tame. I finally came across my first RG, and a little surprised with it.
Level 20, and you have a baby?
Yes, flyers had babies now, as indicated by this little heart. Wasn't sure if it really would be flying or walking around, but that was interesting indeed. I came across a really cool structure that would be nice to build in, but I think I wanted to build everything custom. I saw my first baby flyer on day 9.
Is that a baby? Is that a baby? Oh, it's a little baby. It's a baby RG.
They had a parent that was stuck in a rock, weirdly enough. I finally got a read on it, and it was a 130, which wasn't too bad for an RG. If I could tame them, then maybe I get the kid too? This was going to happen, but I needed to get rid of all the surrounding threats first. I then set up an RG trap, which I can provide the link for the trap I used. I had to free up the RG out of the rock, and thought it would murder me right away, but it just seemed relieved to be free.
Alright, you free?
I had to give it some motivation to peck at me.
Here it comes.
In which I ran into the trap and then proceeded to knock it out.
Alright, it's out.
I took out some nearby RGs for some prime and fed it. While waiting for it to tame, I could find a mate for it since it seemed where all the RGs like to hang out. After looking at probably over a dozen RGs, I found a 135 female with a baby. The previous RG tamed up, so I reset the trap and then I started to lead it in when my first RG was getting attacked. Together we took out the assailant RG and then I attempted to trap the 135 again. I got her in, tranked her out, and fed her some leftover prime. It was now day 10 and I wanted to get a 140 male I saw earlier, so I picked up the trap to move it. I then proceeded to lure it in. I had to lure some RGs away as I didn't want them to be problematic, but the damage was already done.
Did they eat my RG? No! Oh no.
Yeah, they did.
They ate the female. Oh.
If this has happened to you, leave a comment down below. That's what I get for being greedy. I still needed a high-level female, but I figured I'd tame this 140 male while I was here. I still had to find a female, so I flew around a bit before I noticed the 140's baby was right next to it.
Oh, here's a little baby.
It was female, so this would fix the problem, but it only landed for a moment before it started flying away again. I think they might have to be bullied or trapped, as there wouldn't be a way for me to claim one off the back of a flyer without throwing yourself off. Possible problem for another time. The 140 was up, and I just had to get a female before leaving the area, and I did with this 135.
Oh no! Oop. Okay. Alright. Got it this time. No! Why am I messing this up? Third time's the charm. Alright, here we go. Right. No.
It took me a couple tries to get her in the trap for some reason, but once I did, it was rinse and repeat. Trank and feed. While she tamed up, I didn't go far with the RGs that I had, as I didn't want another cannibalistic ritual to happen. I gathered some nearby metal and I loaded it up on the RGs since I could do a lot more now. I still wanted to keep her in sight, as I didn't want to go through this again. She tamed up on the morning of day 11, and now I had secured some better flyers.
And we're off. 3 RGs and a Pteranodon. Coming in for landing.
Guess I was gone for too long as the Pteranodons went back at it.
Ah, you guys got real happy to see each other, huh?
Between the RGs, there was a mix of good, okay stats. It was kind of annoying to try and get them to land next to each other, so since I wasn't high enough level to craft the saddle yet, I did the lazy thing and bred the 2 closest together. I got an egg, but it was way too hot for it to incubate for now. I was going to need levels, and thought maybe I could find an alpha raptor to kill, or possibly this skill tree could help. I had one more task to get some skill points, and it was craft 25 thatch structures. That would help with XP as well, so that was one thing I could do. I first unload all the metal I had in the forge, and if I was going to do any hunting, I was going to need a long neck. I had to wait for the metal to smelt, so I went out with my crossbow to see what I could kill. I also grabbed up some thatch and wood for my structures. The RJ egg was still in my mind, so I came back to the hut in an attempt to hatch it.
It's too hot still? No, okay.
While waiting for these babies to pop, I crafted up some thatch structures. I completed the task, got another level, and while I was looking at my skill tree, the new babies came out into the world.
Oh, while I was looking at the thing, the babies hatched. Hello. Alright, we got kids. Where you going? Got a little blue mullet like me.
These fledglings didn't have the best stats between the two, so I attempted to bring the higher level RG over so they could mate.
There we go.
Also, I wanted to try and get the nicer colors of the one RG with the blue hairdo. With the dino count expanding, I was going to need a feeding trough. I started the morning of day 12 with a crazy red sky and plopped down trough, filled it up with berries and meat. Got to my skill tree again and decided to spend my points on the well-oiled machine, which reduces the repair cost of items and structures by, in this case, 10%. I took out my little lawnmower to gather more berries for narcotics, as this was still a good way for me to gain XP and get stuff for taming.
Who invited you here? You taking gentlemen callers, Tiffany?
With all the eggs I was going to have, I need to consider taming an oviraptor. I barely flew 5 flaps from my door and I found one.
Oh, there's one right there. 90. Okay, that is doable.
I landed and it seemed to disappear.
Where did it go? Okay.
I managed to locate it again, only to discover I had no bolas. So I gathered the resources to make a bola. I ran up to bola it.
And I missed.
I had to make another one.
There we go.
And then I got it. I shot it a couple times when it was getting real bloody.
You gonna die?
But it eventually went down. Then I went back to my bin to grab a bunch of Pteranodon eggs I was going to hatch. I also had a Moschops and a Deinonychus egg that might speed taming along. The Moschops egg did a good chunk of the taming, and then it wasn't much longer before it was fully tamed. I brought it back, and it would help with grabbing up the eggs that were hiding under these butts sometimes.
Alright, we got so much stuff going on now, so yeah, we definitely need to find a place to live. I'm gonna go see what that purple drop's about, though, real quick.
I got the drop, and it had some useful stuff, but it was mostly salty. Since it was night, I could hatch my RG eggs, but not before getting in a battle with this oviraptor trying to grab them all.
Okay, they're incubating. No, don't pick them up. You just unfertilize. Those ones incubate. Cool.
I finally could make myself a long neck, and I needed to make bullets now, which needed gunpowder, so I started crafting those things. Had some RGs hatch up, and it was time to start thinking about a new, bigger, better base spot. I still needed levels, and on day 13, I figured I could find some easy things to kill, along with picking up some drops.
I mean, there were some low-level Rexes in the other direction, so maybe we'll go kill a Rex. That'll give us some levels.
I picked up a drop that had some useful resources for me. Searching around the area closer to Green Obelisk, I found that there were beavers. And this would save me a trip to the snow biome for mammoths, since I would be able to tame one of these guys pretty easily. I found a low-level Rex I tried shooting to get some good XP.
Fighting Stego. Get the kill. Come on, Stego, we can do it. It's almost dead. No, it healed up. Had a shot with the Stego. just healing too much.
The stegos ended up taking it down anyway. While flying around, I got too close to this purple crystal-y area, and it kicked me off my mount.
Oh no! I wasn't even close!
I could only assume that this was a cave for possible artifacts. Moving forward, I found another Rex in battle with a Diplo that could also give me some good XP. They're huge and don't fight back, so it's not a bad way to level.
Give me the shot, yes. Okay. What did I get from that? 1. Well, that's something, I guess.
I tried taking out another sauropod and didn't get the last shot in.
No.
A lot of these bigger targets would give me more XP, but if I didn't get the kill, it was kind of a waste of ammo. And with just starting out and kind of being broke, I was having a hard time crafting it.
This is too hard. I might as well just keep going back to killing little things. Yeah.
So I just headed home to take care of my sand RGs. When it was cold in the nighttime, I would incubate eggs, and I had 2 more to incubate. In the early morning of day 14, I took out an aloe from a pack that was getting closer to teetering off the edge to my base. This kill got me another level. Since it was now morning, it was too hot for the RG eggs, so I packed them up for now. I went out with the moss chops to gather some more, and it was then I had the idea to start crafting building pieces, since the plan was to have a massive base anyway. So once I gathered narco berries for narcotics, I went back out to gather wood for foundations. Killed a dilo that gave me another level, then I made some foundations for another level. Just one more needed to be able to craft the RG saddle. Some pagos wanted to pick a fight with me, and really, they're just stealing my steaks.
Oh, it's 145. That's so dumb. Good, now you're stuck. Alright, we're almost there.
Then I finished up with some more foundations, giving me the XP to finally unlock the RG saddle. So I crafted that up, and I decided to stay here until the rest of the RGs raised up. But I could still look for a place. I had some foundations and walls, and I also made a bed. I saddled up my grown RG, and I was off to see what I could find. My flight took me to a cool pre-built compound on its own island that would be a great place for a base. But I was determined to build my own castle. With that, I ended the night off with a blue drop.
See, more building pieces. And some mini base. It's not bad.
The search for a new place to live continued on day 15. I needed somewhere close to the water, close to resources, nice terrain, and a good view. I wanted to also live near a waterfall. And while I was sightseeing, I collected any drops I saw. Through this whole area there was plenty of crystal nodes and metal nodes throughout. It was slightly dangerous in places as there were aloes, rexes, raptors, and Valguero's debut dino, the Deinonychus.
Try to find something over in that direction just because it's closer to Greenopolis, which has the dams and stuff. But it's pretty nice here.
With all the Deinonychus running rampant, I discovered that I could just pick them up, which would help a lot with crowd control.
Oh, that makes things a little bit easier.
Pretty soon after, I found an area that had it all. Had the waterfalls, the view, surrounded by resources, and plenty of space. This was it. I had found a little cliff edge nearby to place my bed.
I think this is our new home.
Then I grabbed a blue drop before heading back to my hut. So it was now day 16 and I had decided where I wanted to build, but in order for some good building to happen, I would need some utility dinos to help gather up all the resources. So I grabbed some berries and I set out to find an Anki. Didn't take long before I found a really nice looking blue and purple 130 Anki. I picked it up and I brought it closer to the new area, so that would be one less thing for me to bring.
Okay, I'm gonna put you up here for now.
Ankis aren't too hard to tame since they're slow, but I made a trap anyway, so it just wasn't leading me all over the place.
We'll just plop you right in this trap here.
I knocked it out and I fed it a stack of mayo berries. I changed the trap to solid walls just in case there were some nearby dinos that were a little hungry, because I wanted to go off and go find a beaver. So I headed back towards Green Obelisk and stopped to take care of some Deinonychus so I could loot some nests.
I'm gonna take this egg. Oh, I'll come over here. No, they don't care. Alright, well, these guys are worse than the wyvern. Man, the sabers are the real parents. So comment down below if Deinonychus are actually the worst parents. What are those eggs even looking like? Got a 45 and a 90. Okay, so they're both dookie.
Maybe they just don't care about these poop levels. Looting some more drops, I got a little gift in his purple drop with a ring.
Oh, Mastercraft Gasteroidy saddle. Good thing we're over here in the market for one.
There were tons of beavers around here, so it was only a matter of time before I found a really good level. And that came in the form of a level 140. I scooped it up and I made my way back to the drugged up Anki. On day 17, I made a little trap for the beaver and I dropped it in.
Blink.
Crafted some tranks since beavers need a lot to take down, and I started tranking it out. In the middle of it, I completed another task. I placed some berries inside and then I had an idea.
Maybe if I get some crops, this will go by a little bit faster.
Torpor goes down fast on beavers, so crops would be useful since it was kind of like mutton for herbivores. I flew down to the beach to pluck some rock carrots out the ground. Then on my way back, the Anki tamed.
Right, the Yankee's tamed. There should be a baby there, but we'll see.
Both these creatures had babies I wanted to claim, and usually the baby will pop up at the end of taming, which is what I was counting on. I dropped the carrots in the beaver, and then I took a look around for a little baby Anki.
Do you have a kid here? Because I don't see one.
I looked near the trap, and even down below, but no baby. It is possible it got eaten. I did pluck this Anki from a whole mess of a situation. Well, either way, I still had an Anki tamed. I blasted a bunch of narcotics into the beaver, and then I took out the Anki to find some nearby metal nodes to hit. Without a saddle, I'd have to bring it close to a node, but this tactic works for any gatherer with their primary resource. They won't get as full as if you ride them, but it is a useful tip. I brought back the metal to smelt in the forge, and I picked up guac and roll to move to the ledge.
Okay, I'm going to plop you down right here.
The beaver tamed up on day 18 with no baby as well, but that's okay. Now I had my utility dinos.
Justin Beaver. He's putting on a show. Geode. Dude. Alright, now we got Justin Beaver and Geode Dude.
I was still trying to get some good level Deinonychus, and with the nests scattered throughout, it wasn't bad, but the levels I was picking up were awful.
Man, these guys are the worst. Look at them. What level was that egg? 20. Ugh.
I kept grabbing loot drops as well. Even if they didn't have the things I needed, I planned on getting a grinder later to make more resources. It was also a milestone I had to accomplish, so I might as well try 2 birds and 1 stone it. I spent the rest of the day loading up the RGs with everything in my hut, then taking back a smaller creature one at a time. When I brought back the Oviraptor, I spotted a level 95 Alpha Rex.
Yeah, that thing's cool looking.
Once I landed, I named the Oviraptor Egbert, then on my way back to the hut, a purple drop was descending, but there was a fight down below.
Oh, the raptors are taking it out. Maybe they'll take each other out. Oh, look at them, look at them, look at them, look at them. Oh, he healed. I'm helping. I don't want you to heal. There we go. Just in time for the drop. And what do we got? Oh, nice sap.
I brought the moss chop back on day 19, then picked up a drop with a ring with some nice items. Went back to the hut to pick up my last critter, then whistled all the birds to follow me, and I was off with my flock.
Bye, starter house.
Once I made sure everyone was safe, I checked out this area for my new domain, clearing out any baddies along the way. I had 2 behemoth gates from a drop that could be easily set up for a temporary safe pen. I needed to make doors, and to craft those I needed a smithy. So I set up a little work area to place a forge to smelt metal for the 5 metal ingots I needed for a smith. I learned the behemoth door, and then I started to throw in what resources I had towards it. They needed a good amount, so I took Justin out for some more wood. I kept harvesting into day 20, gathering all the wood I needed for 2 doors. I took a break to head out towards a red drop in the distance, only to get there and to find I had to be level 70 to open it.
Oh, 70. What level am I? 67. Jeez. Alright, well, at least I can get some cactus sap.
Cactus is also a good source of thatch, in which I would need at least 900 to make 2 doors. I also harvested up some metal while I was here, and that's always needed. I quickly grabbed up a Deinonychus egg on the way back with another disappointing level. I loaded up the metal when I got back, and all the thatch to make 2 big doors. I brought over Mosh Tops while plopping both doors into place. I then had to make a few trips back and forth to grab the dinos off the ledge to place them on this slightly bigger ledge. I was going to need a better berry gather than what I currently had, and there were plenty of Branos about that I could tame. I found a dying 150 Brano with a soon-to-be orphaned child.
That kid is going to be free in a minute. I don't have to do anything at all. No! That's my baby. Alright, one of them's down. Alright, it's gone. Oh! It died. Alright, I'm taking this. You don't need to see any more death. No more. Yay, we got a Brano.
Narcotics weren't going to be a problem anymore, as this was one of the best berry gatherers in the game. I picked up the rest of my traps and things and brought everyone over to meet the new addition.
Am I going to be able to get out? Probably not.
On day 21, I picked out the best looking RG and I named him Hitori. I didn't need any more RGs as I was going to level this one up.
Alright, you guys need to stop doing the nasty.
Now I had to think about my build, and I was looking over the land trying to plan out exactly what I wanted. While I was doing that, a Rex wandered over.
Finding a Rex?
Oh, that's perfect!
exactly what I wanted. Where is your kid at? I see it.
So I turned her into an orphan and escorted her to the nursery. I just need a mate now to boost some egg production for some exceptional kibble. Next, I slapped together a tiny platform base, then tossed meat in the trough so no one starved, and placed my forge, smithy, and bed on the platform like a sad studio apartment. I grabbed a green drop with a bunch of crystal and completed another milestone. I was trying to organize as I went, but needed to get the rest of my stuff from the ledge, so I brought an additional RG to help.
Alright, and that's everything. Let's go.
I smelted up some more metal and plopped down a mortar and pestle. And on day 22, I went around killing some creatures so I could feed all these kids. I finally gained enough levels to unlock red drops now. I also noticed that the previous level I had unlocked was a Theory saddle, which would also be a good boss dino. Still a ways from the fight, but it's good to start thinking about it early. For now, I'm going to grab up some more drops. I wandered over towards Green Obelisk to look for some Rexes with babies so I could get a male and female for eggs for kibble. I stopped to take care of some Deinonychus. They weren't very good levels, but I figured I'd keep checking any nests I come across.
Are these booty butt? Ooh, 140. And a 60. Okay, well, I finally got a good egg.
Alright, so I could work with this 140. I took out the lower level Rexes to get some levels since there was plenty around in the area. I found a bloodied up level 55 Rex who was getting stomped on by some Branos.
You have a baby. Where's your baby at? You're about to die too. Where is your baby at? Is it a male? Look at this Carno trying to get in on it. But they might have already killed that baby. Uh-oh. Where's that kid at?
There was a little one about, and I just had to wait for this family to take him out.
Your boy? Yes, you are. Oh, great. I can pick it up. Okay, cool. Taking this back home. But with this, we'll have a male and a female, and then we can get eggs producing. Then we'll be able to get some exceptional kibble.
While on my way home, I spotted a red drop with a ring that I needed to get. So I dropped off Little Junior, claimed him, made sure he had some food, then went back out to get that drop.
Oh, it sucks down here. It's like 1,000 things. I might not get it in time.
And the rest got distracted by chasing something off, which gave me enough time to quickly grab the drop.
I just get from all that. Got a lot of stuff. Electronics will be useful. So I think I can make cryopods now, which will also be useful, so then I can tame some stuff further away. Oh, I don't need electronics for that? Okay, I need polymer though.
Cryopods would make it so much easier to tame dinos in other places. By the time it was day 23, I was collecting a bunch of eggs at this point, and I needed a place to store them and some of the food things, so I made a preserving bin. The Brahma was now fully grown, and with growing Rexes happening as well, this space was not big enough. So I started looking at the area to see where I could put up some gates.
So I think I'm gonna put the first gate over here. And I go from there to there, and I make myself the gates maybe? Maybe I like just big gates. And then this rock will be the start here. And then I'm thinking this rock all the way over here be another part. Yeah, so then this will be, put a tower here, and a tower on the other side, and that'll be cool. And then put a gate here.
Now that I had a plan, time to make it happen. But not before I went and got this drop. I'm usually not so proactive about getting drops, but they have a lot of loot that could help me early on. And everything I don't use, I can grind up later for resources. This drop was pretty useful. And on my way to another, I snatched another egg.
You guys do not care when I take your eggies. Oh, these guys did! These are better parents.
This blue drop was great for me at my current level. It had an ascended pike and oil. Then I came across one of my neighbors.
So this guy has a castle over here. He thinks he's better than me. So I gotta build a better castle than him. Yeah, my gate's gonna be way better than this. Look at this. It's all broken and stuff. This guy's castle stinks.
Once back home, I started transferring items from my bird to my smithy to see what I had and I could use for building. The terrain was a little uneven, so I would need pillars to be able to build. Needed ceilings as well, which I need wood, thatch, and stone. As I grabbed those things, I got distracted by a red drop in the distance.
Okay, got some broth and enlightenment, riot leggings.
Collecting all these drops resulted in me having a mismatch of upgraded armor. I started day 24 feeding some hungry Rexes.
Hey, little baby.
And then I got to work on some building pieces. Taking out Guac and Roll and Justin Bieber to get some resources as I built stuff. I'm going to constantly get distracted by the seemingly constant barrage of red drops surrounding me.
Oh, that's a good drop.
On my way to another red drop, I was curious about all the Mega Raptors I was seeing about, and one of them was a little tempting.
Oh, there's another one of those guys, Mega Raptor. 90. It's a 145. Might try to tame that thing.
The next red drop gave me a useful taming item.
Ooh, got a veggie cake. Veggie cake. What can I get with a veggie cake? Get snails.
Snails passively make cementing paste, so it wouldn't be a bad tame, but I wasn't sure if this map even had any. I tried looting for some more nests, but got a little warning about going near them.
One after me.
After they chilled out, I ignored the warning and I picked up the eggs anyway.
25. Boob.
Maybe they were warning me about how bad they were. On day 25, I had crafted some stone structures and I started to place them where my gate would start. This was going to take a lot of work, but no castle can be without its castle walls. I made one divider, placing ceilings on pillars since it was a little uneven here, and I started to work on the other side. To help out with my skill points, I crafted the cheapest wood structures to complete the milestone and get 3 skill points. I decided to take a lookster at some of the active skills to see if there was anything I could use, but I decided to go with the strong back skill, which reduces the weight of structures. This is useful since I was going to be doing a lot of building. Day 26 was more of the same, gathering resources to craft more building pieces. Early in the morning, I had to start where my gates would be, and I admired the space that would be my new kingdom. I was going to need to move these dinos into my new yard, and some would be a little bit more difficult than others. I unlocked and crafted the Bronto saddle. Then I worked on herding the dinos into the yard, careful as I didn't want any to fall off the cliff and down below. I was moving a little too fast and I crushed some critters down below.
These Lysters are going to try and start something with my Bronto. It's not the fight you want to pick, man.
This Lystra was really ready to take on my Titan, and it didn't go so hot for them.
I don't believe this thing. Oh. Okay.
As I moved the dinos, I tried organizing what I had as best as I could with the space I had. The Bronto was kind of good at holding everything. I wasn't sure if I was going to leave these dinos out or not, but I learned cryopods since they would be useful for taming, and in case dinos got stuck within things since a lot of baby hatching was going to be happening. For most of the drops I collected, I already had the resources to craft some. I just needed to find a drop to craft them in. Fortunately for me, this purple drop was descending. Unfortunately for these aloes, I happened to be there. I took them out and I took the brains. I threw all my cryopod resources in the drop, which had some useful building pieces, and I crafted as many as I could, which was 5. I took everything out of the drop and now was able to tame creatures further away, so that opened up a little bit more exploring for me. Instead of exploring on day 27, I wanted to go out and tame the new dino, the Mega Raptor. I'd seen that 145 earlier, so I grabbed some torches I got from drops and I had set out. I killed some aloes along the way for some more brains. Then I came upon the area where I saw the Mega Raptor. There were a few others around here and I had to take them out before I could start the taming process.
Where? Oh, this thing, where you run into? That's crazy. Right in the face. That's kind of strong. Oh. This thing is floating all over the place.
I had to take out anything bad in the area, so I took out some Deinonychus and took an egg. I found the Mega Raptor I wanted to tame, and to start the taming process, you have to light up one of their little weird spikes that come out of the ground. Unfortunately, this one was still hunting. So I waited and kept trying till it threw me into a locked minigame. I had to wait for it to sneak up on me, and then I would pop it on the nose with my torch. It wasn't too difficult, I just had to wait. Normally this is really smoky and foggy, but I play without the fog mostly so it looks better and everything shows up better in videos. Hitori got into a little scrimmage with a raptor that fired him up because then he wanted to come over here and start some beef with the Mega Raptor.
Oh, it got me.
I had to quickly whistle and passive and get back to my wacko Mega Raptor game. I was gradually making progress with each bonk and thought I had this in the bag. Hitori got in a fight with some Deinonychus and I thought he was good, but the fight made its way over to me.
This thing gonna attack me? I hope it doesn't. Oh, get it.
It threw me out of the minigame and now the Mega Raptor was attacking me full force.
Uh-oh. It brought me out of it completely. Oh no. Okay, let me get up here. Let me get out. Alright, that wasn't good.
See, if I had the fog on, you wouldn't even have seen all the extra action.
Almost broke my mullet.
So I had to take these guys down.
145 Deinonychus, where's your kids at?
I didn't want to give up just yet, as I made so much progress, and I was afraid I'd have to start over. I went back to the spike and I initiated it again. Unfortunately, it picked up right where it left off. It took a while for it to show up since I guess it was hunting someone, but eventually it showed up for its fiery boop. I missed a couple times, but I kept working on it with my 2 torches, hoping nothing else would interfere, and eventually I knocked it out.
Boom!
From here was like a regular tame, where I had to just feed it food. It was a carnivore, so I gave it prime meat Hitori had, and figured it would be just fine. I didn't want to chance it with all the Deinonychus running about, so I sat here waiting for it to tame up.
Gosh, look at this moth disrespecting my Mega Raptor. Stop. I already bombed her in the head like 27,000 times. Jeez.
It took the rest of the night, and she finally tamed up under the moon. Because of that, I named her Lunara. I crafted the Mega Raptor saddle mid-transition because I'm awesome like that. And on day 28, I went around playing with the new controls of this dino.
Let's test you out. How much damage you do? 370. What's going on with that rave show over there at the obelisk? Jeez.
It really did feel like a Super Raptor. I did enjoy the way it looked, and I could see this dino being useful for some caves. Once I finished playing around with Lunara, I was a regular egg burglar this day since I saw so many Deinonychus while I was out here, and there was a 145's nest I was hoping to loot. A lot of the looting at this point was rinse and repeat, so I'll just throw in these yoke-tastic moments in a little montage.
Alright. None of these are the 145, 140, they're all 50s. What? Where did you come from? What is that? Ooh, they're just here? Why is that a thing? Is that a regular one? Chalk elemental. You guys just hang out here. That's pretty awesome. Regular rock looking guy. Oh, they're both. Okay. Alright, well, I'm glad that I found that out that way instead of rolling up on it like that. That's crazy. Ooh, that looks like it's like right in my stuff. Don't tell me this is the 140. Ah! Get off me! What? I didn't know they could do that! Okay. Can I get it? Can I get the egg? Okay. Did I get 15, 15? Where was the 140 something? Come on, game. This is booty butt. Is that guy just visiting? Oh my gosh. Okay, what was the 130? Why are they getting me now? There's a 145 here. Oh. Alright. 100? Come on. What was this one at? 90. Dang. All these eggs are bad.
On day 29, I moved the feeding trough for a more central location. I needed to make more narcotics for taming. Good thing I have a Bronto now, because with a few swipes of the tail, I was in the drug making business. I was also in the moving business since this Bronto had most of my stuff. I named them U-Haul. I was itching to head out, but I needed to make sure my dinos were safe here. I'd have to finish up some kind of perimeter, but not before I went off to the distance to grab a red drop.
Wind turn back. Does the wind matter here?
And then I grabbed another purple drop with some armor. And then I went to another that had some building pieces and ammo. On my way back to base, I waited for a blue drop to descend.
And more building pieces and a regular crossbow. I don't think I'm gonna get better taming tool. I'm usually not this proactive about getting loot drops. Oh, so that's probably why.
Once back, I threw all my stuff in U-Haul and looked to see what pieces I could use right now for my wall. I snapped a behemoth gate to my divider, then proceeded to plug up the space with the walls that I had. I quickly ran out, so I was back to harvesting to make more walls.
Got you making your way over. I don't know if the move is to tame a bunch of Dedicarus and just have them constantly hitting the rocks, you know? And that could work, right? Mammoth is going to be better than you when it comes to building. So, maybe I want to go tame a mammoth.
I took my walls to keep plugging up these holes, and Guac and Roll didn't want to wait on the sidelines for this.
Oh! How'd you get here? You go for it. You hit things. Good job.
I finished up and got back to hitting more rocks, which was taking double the amount of time, since I had to keep stopping to get rid of the sand Guac collected. On day 30, I placed a behemoth gate on the other side today. Then I had to take out a Diplo before he got too friendly.
I actually don't need you in here. You're pushing all my dinos off the cliff.
I made more walls, ramps, and foundations. Then I filled in the other side with walls. There was a lot more of the same today, and I was done with that for now. I decided to go on a nighttime flight to check out new lands heading towards the direction of Red Obelisk while collecting drops to see what other things I could find.
What are these guys? Bears? Guys on bears? Maybe with all the rain and stuff, who lives here? Dracula? Maybe we got king of the bears.
I found some pretty cool things in the redwoods.
I too, one day, shall have a cool castle.
There were also some not so cool things.
What the heck is that? Is that Shinobi? Is that how you say its name? I forget. It's been a while since I watched Lord of the Rings. The brood mommy? That looks like a straight up brood mom. You just got those here? Like, what is that, a dinosaur? I don't want to get too close because it might be a cave. That's awful. Why would you want to go down there? There's bats? That's probably a cave or something. Well, thank you.
On day 31, I found myself sitting on a log in the rain watching a Diplo fight a Carno and trying to figure out what these little things are.
Those things, are those Microraptors? I don't know what those things are. Yeah, we definitely in the redwoods though. Well, I wonder if there's any other place besides here to find honey.
So many more questions and new pathways were open as I made my way to Red Obelisk and started to circle around these very dense woods. I saw a structure off in the distance and I thought I'd introduce myself. I went a knocking, but it was abandoned. There were a few of these structures around, and any one of these places could be a great place to build up in. I mean, I already had my super awesome location, so just letting you all know, just in case you were in the market. The Redwoods normally has beehives, but this place is so dense, any hive could be hidden behind a leaf, a branch, or my own regrets. And any moment, a Thyla could swoop in and ruin my week.
You know what? I might benefit from a gene scanner. Oh, it's 86. I might benefit from that because then if I get one of those, then maybe I can find bees that aren't in the redwoods. Or I don't know. I don't know if it works like that. I've never used it before, so it's possible. It's possible it works that way.
The Gene Scanner was a part of the Bob's Tall Tales DLC when Aberration released, and I have yet to use any of the items from that. What I found useful about it is it could scan for creatures, which is super handy when locating rare or small creatures. It was unlocked at level 86, so still a ways to go for me. As I explored, I kept my eyes peeled for anything interesting to tame.
You know, it's still kind of early on, but the time goes by really, really fast, and it'd be time to start thinking about some boss dinos. Like, Theries are a good option. Rex is a least solid pick, but I did hear that the arena has water, so Spinos might be the way. I'm not sure of the capabilities of the Mega Raptor, but I don't know. Yeah, it's not like I want to tame a bunch of those guys.
I came across another cool structure along with a shift in the biome. This tundra area had many of the snow biome creatures. I had a lot of building ahead of me, and getting a mammoth would be a much better wood gatherer due to the weight. I checked out the levels, and there weren't many high-level mammoths around. I also wasn't sure if I wanted to stay all night and day taming a mammoth, and while I was deciding, I picked up a yellow drop containing some polymer in a saddle. Instead of taming a mammoth, I could just snatch up one of the babies running around.
I mean, it looks like this mammoth's about to die. I mean, any mammoth's going to be better than a beaver when it comes to all that. Alright, I think I'm going to take this kid.
And just like that, I had a better wood gatherer. But I thought I could get a higher level one, so I kept searching for more. And on day 32, I spotted a 130 mammoth with a baby that was in a fight. I did sit out for a bit to see how it would go and saw a yellow drop in the distance. So while they dealt with that, I went to deal with the drop. I had to lure off some baddies off the cliff before plucking the drop.
Oh, I got an ankle saddle.
I went back to the mammoths, and these mammoths are strong. They were able to take that barrage of attacks, so instead, I just took it out. Brought the baby up to a safe place to claim it, and now I had a mammoth pair. The area was also crawling with high-level Uties, which is fantastic news for future boss me. As I roamed around, I found another castle.
So many castles. Even if you're not a good builder, you could just probably go in one of these houses. You know, just fight the lord of the house for it, and you'd be good. This one's actually pretty legit. Bears, and what is that, a wolf? Looks like. Yeah, this one's pretty nice. I mean, if I didn't have a place already, I'd probably move here.
Kept heading off in the direction of Blue Obelisk, and I saw so many Uties.
It's a 1352 high-level Uties, man.
For now, I'll just mark this area on the map.
If there's a blue drop with a ring, maybe I can get some better taming things. If I get a better taming thing here, I'll tame that Utie. I'll do it. No, regular crossbow again. I haven't really gotten any weapons, but look, I got a fur cap. So, I mean, that'll help me with the cold a little bit.
I waited for a purple drop to descend while being cautious of the Uties and Perlovias about.
Man, lots of water intakes. I mean, the only reason I'm keeping them because I want to grind them up later.
I kept following the drops to a purple with nothing great.
I'm not trying. Cool.
And shortly after that, I found the scar.
That's a wyvern. That's a wyvern. It's an ice wyvern. 175. You have an egg? Oh no. I don't want no part of that. I don't want any part of that. Is your nest in the trench? Is there a trench? Okay, we're gonna stay away from that because we can definitely not outrun that. There's no way. Oh, it's moving real fast and it's beelining it. Where are you going?
I wanted to get closer in to see if I could nab at an egg, but I was so cautious as I didn't know where the ice wyvern went.
It's like definitely in this green area here. Let's run parallel.
It was day 33, and I was just so close to the scar, I decided I had to check it out while I was here. So I moved closer, inch by inch, until a wyvern popped up in render. There was no way I could fly out with an egg with an RG, but if I saw an easy egg, I was going to try and grab it. I kept checking and I only found ice ones, which have the annoying ability to not only slow you down, but also drain your stamina with their ice breath. I decided a slow RG and an ice breather's breath was not a winning combo, so I dipped out for now.
I can't do that right now. Look how slow I am. I'm so slow.
I was flying back pretty slow, so I made my way back home, stopping for a purple drop with a ring that didn't have anything too game-changing in it.
I actually haven't really found any Spinos yet. It's kind of weird.
If I was having a hard time finding just one, they may not be the boss move. I headed towards the yellow drop with a ring, and this was the one.
Yes, finally! Dun, 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 dun.
This was huge, and it would cut down my taming time when trying to knock out creatures. Now I wanted a Spino more than ever, but apparently Spinos are extinct. Or hiding. Or avoiding me on purpose.
Like, where are all the Spinos at? I wonder if they're in the water.
So I used photo mode to check, and this water wasn't that deep that they'd get lost in. Maybe they all lived in a river I didn't know about.
Supposedly, there's an aberration area, though, too. Optrix might be the way to go around this map. I think they're a little bit faster than the wyvern.
As I made my way home, I found some dead dolphins along the beach that gave organic polymer. I was pretty heavy with this stuff on the morning of day 34, and it was going to take me a long while to get back home. I had to drop some things to help my speed a little. Made it a grid or two, and then had to drop some more because this was just way too slow. I'd need a better, faster flyer with more weight to be able to farm all these drops. There was a red drop close to base that didn't have anything useful, but I would need to keep checking the red ones, as they could have useful things like a good saddle for boss dinos, or better weapons. I made it back home and unloaded everything into U-Haul, then picked up a purple salty drop. It was down by the Deinonychus nest, so I had to try for some more eggs again. I tried to get them to bother this Diplo, but they weren't buying it.
I'm tired of these guys. I'm just gonna smack them in the mouth right here. This is how we're doing it. I see 135s and a 130. These eggs better be that. I feel like at this point I gotta stop looking for eggs, man.
I got 2 150 eggs, so that means I could finally stop looking for now, and hopefully I get some good Deinonychus with some good stats. Back at base, I released the mammoth baby to grow up. I grabbed up the 140 Deinonychus egg from the preserving bin, then dropped an egg to see if it would incubate. It was too cold, so I would need some air conditioners. I know, that makes sense. But air conditioners also help to incubate eggs that need to be hot. Since it was too cold, I could have hatched the eggs with a lot of torches or campfires, but I would be doing a lot of hatching in the future, and air conditioners would be necessary. I would need a generator for power, and to make these things, I would need a fabricator. So I started putting together the resources. I made the fabricator, and then I realized I might not need to make it because of all the drops I've been getting. I checked U-Haul to see what was in there, and they had a wind turbine, which does produce power. I also already had an air conditioner. So with all that, I placed down the fabricator and wind turbine to see what I was working with.
Oh no, get your head away from that thing. Till you lose your neck. Is there even wind here? Oh, it is. It's powered. It's powered from the wind turbine. All right, nice. So we don't even need to make a generator.
It wasn't enough to incubate, so I added some fire, and it still wasn't it. It was also colder at night, so I decided to wait to see if I could do it during the day. On day 35, I released the other baby mammoth, then went back to see if the egg would work. It was still too cold for it.
If I have to make more fire stuff, then I will. But I think what I'm going to do for now to just reinforce up there is to just make a bunch of spiked walls to keep things from coming out. So I think that'll be good.
I took Justin to farm out the wood I'd need to craft for spike walls.
Like, it's not my favorite thing to do, but it will keep things out. It will keep all this stuff out, you know, that I want to keep out. So let's check it out. It's still too cold.
So I put the AC right next to it on the ground, and that was it. While the eggs incubated, I went to the top cliff and placed down my spike walls. I placed what I could and then went back to get some newly hatched Deinonychus.
Oh, we got 2 boys and a girl.
It's been a while since I've used any, so I couldn't remember if the stats were decent or not. But for now, I needed them to raise up in the yard. These babies had other things on their mind.
Where are you going? Where are you guys going?
While I was trying to deal with my babies, some other babies came to visit.
That's a baby moth. There's a baby moth. Oh, they're cute. Alright, well, don't go running off. Why are you running off? What is that? You stay still. Yeah.
On Phoenix's old daycare here. Before placing more spike walls, the mammoth wanted prime meat jerky. I fed it, then placed down some more spikes. I wanted to try and take advantage of the explosion I got from the Deinonychus, so I thought maybe I could find some nearby Alpha Rexes for some levels. If I got some shots on it, and Hitori as well, both of us would get the XP. That would be useful for some industrial structures. I found one, and I started to unload some shots into it.
This is kind of taking a long time. I don't know.
This thing had a ton of health. I could spend the time to take it out, but with the node expired, it might be more useful later when I'm trying to level up creatures. So I left it alone for now to get a red drop with a ring with nothing that great inside of it. I ended off the night with some more wood farming. I had to do some caretaking on the morning of day 36. The Deinonychus babies wanted a little cuddle and some berries. I made some more spike walls while I took the baby mammoths out for a walk for imprints. While I was placing down some spikes, I encountered a big problem. Once I took out my problems, I thought to myself I would need to build up that wall for protection. At least I could take care of one side of protection and lay down the rest of these spikes. I was going to need to start breeding some dinos, but the Deinonychus and mammoths were still growing. So I got into some building instead. I took guac and roll to get some stone, which wasn't the only stone that I got because then I completed another milestone. I crafted some building pieces and I set off to get a red drop I noticed in the background, but it disappeared.
Man, this green drop's been here for 27 years. Might as well go check that one out.
Back home, I crafted up some more building pieces, and the Deinonychus were all grown up. Mammoths wanted to go on another walk, but they were a little stuck. After I tried organizing slightly, I found that U-Haul was slot capped. I would need to consider making a grinder to get resources, but it was very expensive. I got back to crafting my stone structures and ended up completing another milestone. I unlocked another tier in the strong back. I spotted a red drop in the distance and slowly made my way over.
And the drop disappeared.
And now it was day 37, where I checked the stats of the Deinonychus, and I really couldn't remember if these were good stats. It's been a while, but man were they squishy. I named them the stats that I cared about, and they were already so close, it was time to get them a little closer. The mammoths were all grown, and they just needed to be saddled up. I checked to see what I had already, and I found an Anki saddle I could use, but no mammoth. So I unlocked it, then crafted up the saddle. I named this one Trunk Norris, and then I saddled up old Geodude with this nice Mastercraft saddle. I also needed to give the other mammoth a name, in which I chose Splinterella.
So, cool, we have mammoths, but we have no way to get in and out, so I'm going to need to build some ramps to go up and down here. Which means I still need to work on this wall. Alright, back to the wall we go.
I grabbed the building pieces I had and I worked on the base of where I would put these towers.
My plan is to make 2 columns around here, build them up. Man, I'm gonna need a lot. A lot of stuff. I haven't even built my base yet. I mean, I guess that's okay. I guess it's alright. But it's gonna look cool. I have a really cool looking tower.
I noticed the Deinonychus had a few eggs and Eggbird wasn't doing their job properly, so for now, I just placed them in the preserving bin. I started the morning of day 38 with a red drop with some useful resources. I wanted to venture out again, but I had to make sure everything was good at base first.
I'm gonna go exploring that hole that I got kicked off in. So I want to see what that's about, and so I hope that you are a caving dino.
Few swipes with U-Haul and I filled the trop before setting out. I brought Lunara along and threw her out once I got kicked off. I could still have Hitori follow behind and go on adventures. Shortly after ending the cave, I found some featherlights.
Is that a little Hitori? It's a little one. This is an aberrant area. Oh, I didn't know there was an aberrant area. Okay. That changes some things. So if this is a full aberrant area, there might be Spinos down here, and there might be crabs down here.
I wasn't sure if this was a whole cave or a whole area, but I made my way down. It was weird since it took a long time to find any creatures, but when I did, I was surprised about what I found.
There's like nothing down here. Oh, look, dodos. I need some food. Yeah, these are aberrant creatures. Alright. Those are straight up bees. Wait a minute. Those are straight up bees. What? They're just out and about? Oh, I do need a bee. What are you doing? You just stuck? It's a 130 featherlight. I might as well tame that while I'm down here.
Once I figured out the correct mushrooms to feed it, it only took a couple of feedings before it was mine. It also had a little one I claimed as well.
Alright, so we're just gonna ball you up because I can't take care of you right now. We get a little featherlight protection. Yeah, if I find some rare flowers, then I can tame those bees.
For now, I kept pushing forward. And more forward, and more forward. Finding nothing but featherlights?
There are only featherlights down here or something.
At the moment of recording this, it was pretty close to the initial release of Valguero. And a lot of times when maps first release, sometimes the spawns don't work correctly. It was feeling like this was the case as it was so empty down here.
I don't know, man. There's like nothing down here at all. I don't think this is normal.
I figured maybe it was because it was my first time down here and nothing had a chance to render in yet.
I don't know. Maybe if I head back, maybe it'll be... Maybe the dinos need to fill in or something. Maybe it's because I haven't loaded the area. I don't know, really. It's like I thought the dodo went extinct, but it seems like everything else has gone extinct but the dodo. Wait, there's a scorpion over there. There's a scorpion. And I assume that's a super radioactive area over there. If there's this whole area, though, it means there's probably rock drakes here. Yeah, I think it just took a moment to load in, because I think some creatures are coming now. Yeah, look, there's creatures all up here. Okay. I don't want to get too crazy with the drops and stuff.
I continued exploring until day 39, where it seemed like more creatures were slowly spawning in. I picked up a purple drop with some slightly better armor, then found myself in a fight with some nasties. I stood at the entrance of what looked like to be a radioactive area, which is possible there would be some rock drakes down there. That opened up some possibilities. Also the possibility of a Carcanos in this area, which would be a huge help to me. I didn't want to go through the trouble of trying to tame one because their taming method is a little annoying. You had to concuss them by throwing heavy things at their head, but it was kind of annoying because you had to hit a specific spot. But if you hit their legs or anything else, they just take damage and it doesn't do any torpor damage at all, and it's a whole mess. So I thought finding a high level with a baby would be good enough for what I needed. I searched around for some, also keeping my eyes out for some hopeful Spinos. They would be a fun tame to take to the boss fight. As I searched around, I found a blue drop with nothing too crazy in it, and I found a whole lot of nothing. The spawns weren't spawning. There really wasn't anything more than herbivores and a couple of other little small bad guys. It was kind of a bummer since I spent a good amount of time looking. Because now it was day 40 and I was still searching and I didn't find a single Spino or crab. So I exited the underground, wanting to find some beaver dams for some rare flowers to tame those bees I saw. I was close to Green Obelisk and I knew there were some dams around in that area. I found a big one, but I had to take care of some of the beavers before I could plunder this one. It had some rare flowers in it, along with some other resources I needed. I plucked what I could and then I dipped out. The big ones always make me nervous since you have to get in there to get the stuff, so it really makes it easy to get swarmed. After that one, I found a smaller dam I had to get just because it was an easy one. I went back to the Aberration Tunnel and headed down to where I found the bees from before. Now, if you know me, I really hate bee taming since you have to run up on the queen and slap her butt with a rare flower and that's it. But you gotta make sure she's not mad when you do it. And most queens don't really like unprompted butt smacks from a rando. I tried the best I could to give her a flower really quick, but she wasn't having it. She sent a swarm of her butt babies to try and deal with me, which I just kinda crouched and stabbed at them. I had to wait for her not to be upset, so I turned my attention to the other one flying around. This time I had some cactus broth to help hide my presence a little bit. That didn't work and she got mad and flew away. I then attempted to get at the first one again, but she wasn't having it.
This is ridiculous. Oh, I hate it. I hate bee taming. I hate it so much.
I had to take a little breather and relog in between these days, and then on day 41 I attempted to tame another bee I saw, and it was no problem. Then another.
There we go.
And another. All easy. Not sure why it was a problem before. 3 bees, 3 beehives to produce all the honey I would need. Leonara was so excited she decided to show me her moves.
Pretty cool. Look at it. That's great.
I still really wanted to find a Carcanos with a baby since it would help me a lot with gathering. The spawns were still pretty funky, but it seemed slowly more creatures were spawning in, like the swamp baddies. I made my way all the way up and down this river and not a single crab. The Sargos I did come across I made sure to take out as I would need the skins for tributes. If I wanted to get any rock drakes I would need to get a hazard suit, which I thought at first wasn't available.
I think I can make it.
I found out I had the wrong settings on my Ingram page since when I looked at cliff platforms earlier because I was thinking about building with some, they weren't on here. So I just figured I couldn't craft them. There's different little settings up here and I thought they were clicked off. Full engrams aside, I would need congealed gas balls to craft the suit. And you get those by making a gas collector to passively collect them on gas veins. The problem was, to make the gas collector you need red gems. And red gems are in the radioactive area in which you need the hazard suit. So, how would I be able to do all this? If I was lucky, it was possible to get some of these resources and items in a drop. Unfortunately, I wasn't that lucky. So, in my time down here roaming about, I still wasn't sure if my spawns were messed up or certain creatures didn't exist, as I didn't see any crabs or spinos. That also made me think maybe rock drakes weren't here as well. If I made a gene scanner, that would help in confirming my thoughts. But if there's no action down here though, there's nothing for me to do but head back up. I emerged out the purple hole on the morning of day 42, made my way back home spotting several alpha rexes along the way. I threw out the baby featherlight, introducing them to their new friends. Since I had these beehives now, it was time to start working on a greenhouse. So I gathered up some stone, then cleared out the area of berries with U-Haul. Between traveling and gathering, it took most of the day, and I didn't start placing down a floor until it was nighttime. That didn't last very long, as a red drop showed up in the distance I had to get. The only thing out of it that was worth anything was this ramshackle Uteranus saddle blueprint. But so far, the red drops didn't give me anything too crazy. I just have to keep on trying. I did more gathering for the greenhouse on day 43, and I needed Justin to take care of some overgrown shrubbery coming out the floor. After I did that, I crafted some large crop plots, and I had 4 areas with 2 stacked plots. Right now, I focused on crops I needed for extraordinary kibble, which was long grass and saveroot for Lazarus chowder. I had to manually get my hands dirty to pick up poop and help fertilize the plots. A dung beetle would be useful here, but I had no idea where to find these tiny beetles on this huge map. I wasn't going to bother with it for now, and I kept working on my greenhouse. I set up some pillars and played around with some of the skins to give it a little bit of a different look. As I started to shape it up, I decided to use quarter walls for the top, and I needed more thatch. And again, I was distracted by the red drops. While one descended, I whacked some trees to get some thatch. Some of those things are useful. I wasn't finished the greenhouse, but at least I could get these hives sorted. I needed rare flowers to keep them healthy. I had some, but thought I had more located in one of these dinos. I couldn't find them, so that meant I'd have to visit some dams for some hopeful flowers. I made some pillars to see how I wanted the front to look like.
Yeah, let me do it like that. I think that'll look nice. Oh my gosh, it's taken us forever to build stuff because we've been distracted by so many different things.
And speaking of distractions, here's another red drop. On day 44, I took out some aloes for brains and safety.
Dinotherium saddle. I'm getting all kinds of stuff, but I haven't even seen any of them. Basically been homeless this whole time.
I really need to get to building, but with all the red drops around, it's really hard to just let them go. I was in need of rare flowers, and the paste and wood from dams wouldn't be too bad to get either for building. So I leveled up a random RG with a bunch of weight, and I brought it along while I went towards Green Obelisk to loot these beavers. It took a few dams, but I finally got some flowers along with a lot of paste and wood. I was pretty close to my old hut, so I stopped to check if there was any in there as well, thinking maybe I left some behind, but it was empty. I must have just imagined these other flowers. Back home, I unloaded all the wood I had onto the mammoth. I split up the flowers I had in between the 3 hives. I give these bees flour and they sting me in the face. This can all be avoided by wearing full ghillie, but I couldn't be bothered with it since I had enough health to do what I needed to do. I needed these mammoths out on the field, and I remember I was going to build a ramp about a week ago. Ark is 50% surviving, 50% of forgetting what you're supposed to do, or at least it is in my case. On day 45, I unlocked a gene scanner, my key to figuring out whether this map was cursed or I just had terrible luck. I brought over Trunk Norris and U-Haul to see if I had all the resources necessary.
Black pearls. Black pearls. I only got 3 black pearls. Why did I feel like I had more than that?
I was just a little short, and while trying to figure out if I had more hidden areas for my stuff, I had a party crasher.
Rex, you inside here? You guys inside here? Let's start chomping on them. Oh. Rock and roll. I gotta get you. I gotta get you. Oh, we get messed up. You getting messed up. Okay, they messed him up.
I needed to stop living out a few dinos and a platform. So I continued to organize a little more, and I realized I had a real problem with getting thatch. The new creature, the Elder Claw, was supposed to be decent in gathering thatch. Plus, I did want to tame one since it was new, and this gave me a reason to. However, I haven't seen a single one yet, and I have no idea where they would spawn. The gene scanner would be really useful right now. Something to deal with in the near future. I wanted a little buddy to bring around, but I didn't want to run out just in case I died, and I also wanted a blue one. So I got the finely grown Featherlight to start laying me eggs for a blue baby. I need a few more black pearls for the scanner, and I figured I'd have to find them in drops since I had no idea where to even look. Then it dawned on me. This whole time, I never checked what was in the water below me. I dove in, and no black pearls. But there was oil and silica pearls, and also some weird rock formations.
Oh, crap. Okay, that's not good. Oh, God. You know, one of these guys were down there.
Okay, well, we're not taking a dip anytime soon. I felt a little stuck, and I grabbed a Featherlight egg while I decided what to do next.
Oh, no. I might just have to go with Rex's if I can't find any Spinos and stuff.
The Featherlight hatched, and it was not blue. I guess it can stay, though. I had another egg, and I got that incubating. While that happened, I crafted more building pieces.
You a blue one? You're not even a blue one.
One benefit to me taking so long in my greenhouse is my crops were getting plenty of water since it always seems to rain on Valguero. I had the little lights dying since I wanted a blue one, and I was going to keep letting the neglect happen until I got one.
Still no blue one. A yellow. You can get out of here.
It was now day 46, and I was lacking in a lot of things, but at least my crops were looking good. Beehives still haven't produced any honey, which I thought was strange. I needed more resources for the grinder to get rid of a lot of things I had stored on my dinos. Metal was a big one, so I took out Geodude and some RGs to load them up with metal and stone. I was going to need a lot of metal for the grinder, but many of the things I had already had would give me a lot of metal back. I need a couple more trips to get all the metal I needed, and I figured I'd just get it all in one place first, and then make more forges for smelting. On the morning of day 47, I had a nice surprise outside my base.
145, I'm gonna tame that.
I had to craft some metal billboards, and while that was happening, I was a little worried about the fight she was in.
I mean, it's looking kind of bloody, but it should be okay.
I spammed down the 8 billboards I had, hoping she was stuck.
There we go.
I then proceeded to knock her out.
It's the long process of tranking this out.
She was looking a little bloody, so I grabbed the floating Doedicurus I killed earlier to give her a little snack.
And bring this body over.
That healed her up quickly along with a piece of my shirt, and then I proceeded to knock her out.
Alright, that's it, it's out.
There were usually 1,000 sheep around, but figures when I need them they just vanished. This Diplo also works as they give prime meat, which would also help me in taming this Rex quickly. I didn't want this to get messed up, so I flew around on the lookout for any potential raptors or aloes that might try to take Chunk out.
This is the start of our boss dinos.
Her stats, I think, were pretty good, as it's been a good while since I've used Rexes. The normal mod I have to check points wasn't working correctly on this playthrough, so I just have to see when I got a mate. I needed more thatch for various activities, and since I wanted to save the trees for wood, I hit cactus instead.
Cactus also gives good thatch. Oh, that's a good level.
The only reason I would consider taming a Lamantria is because they're kind of fast and their green farts do slow down creatures, which would be useful when trying to get a wyvern egg, since I still needed a better flyer. Something to think about while I got some drops. On day 48, I was greeted by another Rex fight outside my gate.
The 135 Rex. I'm gonna take it out so then another Rex can spawn.
Even though I was grinding for resources, I needed to keep checking these drops for loot, hoping for some industrial structures, boss dino saddle blueprints, or even saddles. Rexes were looking to be my boss dino due to the drops.
Journeyman Rex saddle blueprint. Okay, so alright, that's not bad.
I unloaded some of my stuff I got from them, and then saw that my Featherlights still had no blue babies. So I kept at the drops, and then since I was around Green Obelisk, I checked to see what I even needed to summon the boss. I wanted to do the alpha fight and found that I didn't need to get all the artifacts for the fight. So I spent the rest of the day and night hunting mostly for red supply drops. In the early morning hours of day 49, I finally got a questionable blue Featherlight.
You're not really a blue one, and you're kind of cool, I guess.
I went for another metal run and stopped to get a drop with nothing of super importance in it. Once I got back, I unloaded the metal and crafted up some more building pieces. I figured out where I wanted to finally start my castle, and I picked the flattest area. I laid down some foundations to indicate where the front would start, and then I realized I wasn't finished my greenhouse. So I unlocked the greenhouse engrams and then began crafting what I thought I needed. As much as I wanted the red drop in the distance, I really needed to finish this roof.
Okay, so we'll do it like that. Alright, red drop's gone.
Okay, that solves that distraction. I went back to make more roof pieces. Crystal was hiding on a bird. So I got them transferred over and then crafted up my final pieces. On day 50, I made up a water tank, and I had plenty of intakes from drops.
I don't know if these beehives are producing honey.
Which honey was going to be a real problem if these didn't work. I placed down a tank and then I worked on the water intake, which didn't seem to have a great spot to place it in. I got distracted by another red drop that I flew across to go get. Then I came back to sort out my plumbing, then went back to see if it was irrigated, and it was not. So I was going to need a couple more tanks. Not before I took care of this Diplo before it got a little too playful and pushed my dinos off a cliff.
Hey, you gotta go.
I normally don't have such a hard time with the plumbing, but the cliff was so much higher than where the water was, which made it so the areas weren't even close to touching. Finally took a look at my little featherlight on day 51, and it was kind of blue. But I had bigger plans than just admiring my pocket nightlight. I needed to return to the aberration area. I packed up some building pieces for a small outpost. Lunara and I slipped back into a glowing pit of disappointment to see if things have improved.
Wait, if I'm being real, the only reason I'm coming down here is to get rock drake eggs, but I need to see if the Carcanos are spawning. Apparently these bees down here don't work. So I want to try and find some Spinos, get a Carcanos baby. And then if those things are happening, then probably the rock drakes are okay. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot more creatures down here than there were before. So maybe it just took some time to spawn in. It does take a really long time to come down here.
I searched and searched, and although there were slightly more creatures, it was still pretty barren down here.
It does not appear that these spawns are working. So that means my idea isn't gonna work because the aberration area is completely busted.
This is why I don't like to play maps right away. And on day 52, I decided that there was nothing left for me here and no reason to come back, so I made my way out. While scanning the river pass for a Spino, I spotted a level 150 female Rex. I stared at her for a bit, wanting to tame her so badly, but experience has taught me that sometimes the 135s and 140s roll better stats than the 150s. Sometimes the 150s be straight up booty sauce. Plus, this one wasn't even in a very safe area. So for now, I put a pin in it to see what else I could find. I spent the rest of this day checking out a lot of areas I haven't seen yet. Found lots of the same dinos I've been seeing. I even saw some high level Uties I thought about taming. It would be kind of tough with an Archer because of the Furor, and I didn't need to accidentally get dismounted somewhere in a water or a lake or something and then get my face eaten off by all the thousands of things here. So I needed to be slightly better prepared. I found myself sightseeing in the redwoods on day 53 thinking maybe I could find the new Elder Claw here. I mean, it was a tree bearer, so it seemed logical. I searched for a bit before finding a level 140 male Megaloceros. They're pretty fast and great thatch gatherers, so I chose to go with this creature instead. I flew back towards home with the great deer in my talons and stopped for a purple drop. Trash loot, but fate intervened.
I finally found one of these guys. 130, that's not bad, right?
The taming method is an interesting one, as all I had to do is take this Elder Claw out.
Alright, here we go. Is that strong? Kinda. It's kinda strong! Oh, snap. I mean, hopefully it doesn't run away. It is fast, though.
Then once defeated, it'll drop a seed, which I had to pull from its inventory.
There it is. I don't think it gives me anything. Oh, that's good resources, too. I understand I just gotta plant this seed, and then that should be good. Okay.
I got drops, killed a Rex, stared at my half-finished greenhouse in shame, and finally committed to building again. On a good note, I finally had some honey producing. I was going to need to finish off this greenhouse finally, so I learned and crafted 14 greenhouse doors. On day 54, I placed some foundations down to expand this platform for more forges when I noticed something off in the distance.
Another Rex over there. 145 Rex. Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
I tried trapping it with billboards and had to be quick about it since I didn't want it wandering into my domain. I struggled a bit with this one since it was chasing all the dinos in the area.
No, that's not working.
I had to do a little weird billboard maneuvering, but I had some kind of trap.
Should be okay. Like that. Alright. You should be trapped. You should be good.
Just had to tidy it up a little bit.
Whew.
The Rex got a little chompy, making Hattori spring into action, and I had to quickly whistle him off because we're trying to make this one our friend. Took a few more well-placed billboards to securely trap it.
Ooh. Okay. No. Hit me so hard my hair fell off.
Then I took my awesome crossbow and started tranking it. I had to stop to take out some other distractions and try to heal it up some.
No? Come on.
Then it finally went down.
There we go. Let's fix my hair.
I was looking at a drop I wanted to get off in the distance, and I spotted another Rex in front of my base.
That's a 140 as well.
So I reused the billboards from the first Rex because recycling is important. Trapped faster, knocked it out cleaner.
Alright, there we go.
I then led the tame Rex back to my field.
Alright, and these two will be my Rexes. We'll see. Oh yeah, because the other one was 145. So we'll see what the other one stats are like, and then we'll go from there.
While that was happening, I flew off to Red Drop with a Journeyman Rex saddle in it. It wasn't as good as the others I got, but I'll take it. The second Rex was tamed up doing some weird chomps. It was probably making sure its jaw was working properly, considering its broken neck from before.
You're doing weird stuff. I'm just going to cryo you. Melee frail. That's not great.
Now it was time to figure out what Rexes had the best stats and then start to combine them for the best babies. So I named the Rexes the stats I cared about to make it easier to keep track of. The last Rex I tamed had the best melee, and although it was possible to breed that in later, I really wasn't worried about a couple more points. On day 55, it didn't take too long to get my first fertilized Rex egg. With that, I realized I needed a proper place for hatching. Before starting on another project, I needed to finally finish this greenhouse.
Ah! You don't see this part. No one's looking at this side anyway, it's okay. It's finally a greenhouse with 285 greenhouse effect. Okay, I don't know if it matters if it's 300 or not.
And this was kind of important because remember that Elderclaw seed? I finally got to planting it. This was the second part to Elderclaw taming. It needed to be planted, watered, fertilized, and tended to, which it demanded 6 extremely annoying resources to obtain. You have to keep tending to the plant until the baby branch bear emerges.
Because our greenhouse effect isn't 300%, isn't going to work. I need to get some greenhouse walls or something, or two. I don't know. I'm going to go make some greenhouse walls, I guess.
I crafted up some greenhouse walls to maybe help with the effect and also made a shovel to be able to tend to the plot.
Okay, so we have to tend this. It needs leech blood. I don't think I got that.
I checked through my storage and found that I had some leech blood, which was great since I didn't want to go to the nasty swamp. It pays to be a loot goblin. I gave it some leech blood, then placed down some greenhouse walls around it to increase the greenhouse effectiveness at 300%.
Yeah, okay, all I had to do is put these walls up. You know what? That's kind of cool. We put the walls up. It looks like it's its own little thingy.
It was then asking for different resources like honey and biotoxin. Well, I just happen to have all these things from drops. And I got fresh honey from these beehives. I wanted to work on building, but it seems I have to wait around while the bulb was making demands. So I did some little tasks like picking up eggs and killing random baddies that got too close. While running back and forth for each new weird craving this plant wanted, I spent some of the countdowns adding some pillars to the greenhouse just to detail a little bit more. Eventually the bulb was pleased with all my offerings and bloomed a bouncing baby bear.
Oh, there's a little baby.
I read the dossier to see what it would eat and found no info.
What do you eat? I mean, come on, follow me. It's going to be a pain in the butt to try and get you out.
I just finished all the details on the greenhouse and I didn't want to take anything down to get this bear out. Luckily, I made all of these doors so it could easily walk out.
Let's go look at that thing. What do you need to eat? Oh, you're cool looking.
I fed it some meat and it seemed to enjoy that. It was now day 56 and U-Haul was slot capped, so I had to get rid of any blueprints I didn't need to free up some space. Then I got to work on some forges as the metal needed to smelt faster so I could get the grinder to grind up all the stuff I didn't need for all those juicy resources. I made 3 more forges and then split the metal throughout.
This also might actually help us with eggs, if I'm being honest. No, we should try and hatch some of these Rex eggs. I'll use incubate here? Yep, okay.
While the eggs were incubating, I took out Geodude for some metal farming. I plopped in the metal, but now I needed a bunch of wood. Trunk Norris was pretty full with stuff, so for now I'd use Splinterella to grab wood, which would be fine since mammoths had weight reduction on wood, plus a much greater weight capacity than a beaver. She was a beast at gathering wood, and even berries whenever a dino wanted to get a little too froggy. I couldn't pick up the mammoth with an RG for farming, but when I didn't have to take as many trips, it was well worth it. Back at base, the Elder Claw wanted some cooked prime meat, so I went to check to see if I had that, and I totally forgot about the Rexes I hatched. They were kind of growing into each other, so I took what cryopods I had to try and pod some of them up. I fed the Elder Claw real quick, and then it was back to the Rexes. I wasn't trying for mutations, just needed all the good stats on one dino. I took out any of the Rexes that didn't have the stats that I want, and I went out to throw the next baby Rex, and I got confused.
What? You're actually the big one.
On day 57, I threw out the babies without the good stats, and I would have to wait for them to wake up. Time to build. Needed stone, lots of stone. I kept getting sand when hitting these rocks, so I thought about incorporating adobe into my design, which needs clay, and that's made with sand and cactus sap. Looking through my engrams though, I couldn't find adobe structures.
So they're locked anyway, so there's really no point in keeping sand and trying to make adobe anyway. I don't know why that's a thing, because I was just like, maybe I can make some pieces.
Well, with that plan out the window, stone structures it was, and it was time to farm and level up guac accordingly.
No! I better buy them food! Oh, little fatty.
After gathering, I sorted my mammoth and doedic near my building so it was easier to access multiple resources. I threw down some more Rex eggs to hatch and had another Rex in a cryopod as a surprise.
Wait a minute, did you get a mutation already? Did, you got a random mutation. So you got a little mutated baby. Alright, you can stay because you're mutated. You need to get at least the foundations down, and then if I get the foundations down, then I can maybe go out and go try to get a wood room. Alright, let's go ahead and start crafting.
I was kind of immobilized while crafting foundations, but finally on day 57, I was getting a floor on my castle.
Got her, moth.
When I was done with another batch of floors, I fed the Elderclaw a birdberry for imprint, then tragedy struck.
No, the juvenile Rex was killed. Which one was it?
It was actually one of the ones I was going to take out anyway, so tragedy averted. I went to check the new batch of Rexes, and there was a couple of dual occupants.
It's a lot of eggs. Actually, it wasn't a lot of eggs. Some of these are like twins and stuff.
It took some time to organize, but I separated the good Rexes and took out the ones I didn't want. Red Drop was coming down pretty close by, so I had to go after it, hoping it would give me an industrial structure.
Electronics are useful,
but not much else. I finally got to working on the floor on day 58, setting up the size I wanted.
Alright, cool.
I then cleared out anything that could get in the way of building or push up through the floor. While I was crafting, I had a pushy visitor.
Is this guy starting stuff over there? Dude, you need to get out of here. I keep pushing my dinos, man. Alright, somebody gonna eat that? There you go. 16 by 16 square. Okay. What I think I'm going to do is now it's just such a mess over there. I need to organize them somehow.
I then had another death.
Oh no. Yeah, it's like I kind of stuck to stay around here until they grow up. Because I gotta watch them.
Trying to get a house and have all these kids, it'd be tough out here on the Ark.
Who the heck is this?
An aloe probably ate one of my Rex babies? Parenting is hard.
Did you kill one of my Rexes? But I think what I'll do is I have like this type of scenario on the end of each of these. I think that'll be cool. I'm gonna put little towers up in each corner.
I ended off the night with another run this time for thatch and berries. On the early morning of day 59, my Elder Call was finally grown, so I took it out to test it.
Can you jump? You can jump. Let's get in there with this. Okay, the lunge is pretty good.
It was supposed to be a good gatherer, really good with thatch, but I just wasn't seeing it. Maybe I was using it incorrectly. It is a new creature, and I really knew nothing about the abilities and how to be efficient, but I don't think this was the thatch creature for all the building that needed to be done. It was still a cool creature, and I gave him a name, Florence. With Rexes growing and meat stocked, it was time. Wyvern Egg Mission. Needed a Wyvern to get around easier and faster, plus they could pick up a lot of other creatures I may want to use. Hitori was slow. Too slow, so Sparky the Pteranodon volunteered to distribute.
And if we die, we die.
And with that, I made the long trek to the Wyvern Trench. Once I finally made it, I had brought along cactus broth to help with keeping myself hidden. And I thought you could apply it to dinos, but that wasn't the case. So I just cautiously inched my way to the trench, hoping to spot any egg.
There is a nest right here. We can just try and get this one real quick. to 50. Well, let's get eggs, and then we'll come back. That thing's chasing me, yep. It's still chasing me. Look at it coming, look at it coming.
Eventually, it lost interest, and I flew away with my level 50 egg. It wasn't great, but it was a wyvern. I made the long flight back home, picking up any drops along the way, not getting too crazy since Sparky's weight wasn't that good. Finally back home, I plopped the egg in front of the AC and it was too cold. I moved some things around thinking with all the forges it would help.
Still too cold. Let me try in the greenhouse, because the greenhouse is enclosed, so maybe that'll be the difference here. Still too cold. Okay, you know, it's only an ice wyvern egg, but whatever. Alright, we'll wait till the daytime and try to do this.
While I waited for warmer times, I crafted some more foundations. I tried the egg again on the morning of day 60 and I realized I'd have to give in and just craft more air conditioners. So I kept adding one at a time until it was just still too cold. I grabbed a drop hoping for something that would help, and I did get some metal ingots. I made one more AC.
Okay, we got 4 air cons. Still too cold. Oh, it's incubating.
While the egg was cooking, I cooked up some more floors. This was going to be a massive build, and I'll admit I was slightly worried in starting a base so late in the playthrough. It worked for now since I had to do a lot of babysitting, but I was still juggling a bit. Craft, place down the floors, run out of resources, gather more resources, and repeat. We'd get this done, but it was a lot of rinse and repeat. But what was now done was the little baby Durgan.
Little ice wyvern baby.
Stat so weak it might faint if a dodo screamed at it. I really just needed one to get around and pick stuff up. More concerning to me right now was the lack of efficiency on my end.
Oh, there's lots of berries in here. I need meat. Need more meat. Yeah, this is just, it's too big right now, so it's gonna be really, really tough to like actually do what we need to do. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna add that mod. You ain't even picking up any eggs, you're not even doing your job.
So I took out the freeloaders. The mutated pink Mohawk Rex was all grown, so I saddled it with many of my Rex saddles that I had, and I went out to eat everything, which gave them the name The Butcher. On day 61, I checked to see what the Ice Wyvern wanted.
I ain't got no milk for you.
I usually play vanilla, and I enjoy to, but with this massive build ahead, I needed a little help. I decided to add the Vanilla with Sprinkles mod, which offered a couple features to make building a little bit easier, such as a pool system so I wouldn't have to spend time running to each spot grabbing resources. It also had some useful features that would help with breeding dinos, showing the stat points, making it easier to spot things right away. Some other things like engram auto-locking were included, so all my engrams up to my current level were unlocked. I didn't have to be locked to one spot anymore. I could literally be building and then pull for resources to craft a foundation, even throw a party while I was at it.
Listen to my sick tunes.
I placed down the floors that I had, and then I had to go for another wood run. Then back to crafting and placing them down. I stopped for a red drop that wasn't really worth it. Wasn't going to get a grinder from these drops, so time to pull together what I had. This mod made it easier to see what I needed to focus on as well, since we all know I have trouble with that.
Missing crystal? Really?
I farmed a ton of these huge crystal nodes that I had to leave the Anki behind to make a few trips back and forth to unload the haul. Next was the metal ingots, which I still needed a lot of, but I had all that metal smelting, so I just have to wait it out a bit. On day 62, I took a little trip almost all the way to the edge of the redwoods to get a red drop, and it's a good thing I did.
That's not bad. I mean, I was hoping for a structure, but an Ascended Rex saddle, I will take it.
You know what I haven't seen in any of those drops? Spino stuff.
I haven't seen any Theory stuff either, so yeah, it just makes sense to go with Rexes.
I chose to go on another metal run once I got back since I'd be all out after I was done crafting. Then I decided maybe I should switch up what I was aiming for. Why am I trying to finish my build or do anything without an industrial forge first?
Let's see. The forge, how much to make that? I think that's less metal than the grinder. It is less metal. Forge needs like all the same stuff. It actually needs a lot less. So should I craft this, get my metal, and then craft the grinder? That might be the move. Grinding for the forge. So while that's happening though, let's keep working on this floor. Going to have a floor by the end of the day.
As I was working, I ran out of thatch again. The wyvern was all grown up and they were actually pretty great at gathering thatch. It would allow me to reach the areas my ground harvesters couldn't. I even tried out some of the Wyvern's abilities and this thing was weak.
Yeah, I can't say one of the first things that I've done with the Wyvern is go get Thatch. I was rushed to go get Thatch, but you know what? This is actually pretty useful right now at the point that I'm at.
I came back home to find a fight happening outside my door.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you here. Oh! Oh, this one does more damage than me. I think he might kill me. Oh, Beaver getting in on it. Justin Bieber getting in on it. Help me. Alright, I gotta get. Okay. The Beaver got it. Okay, that could have been really bad.
So yeah, this is a Thatch and Transport Wyvern. She's basically just a slightly angrier Parasaur. I let her heal up on my platform while I just kept working on it. And finally, on day 63, I finished up at least the floor of my castle.
I finally got a floor! And it only took me, what, 63 days?
Look, it's a start.
You could do anything if you put your mind to it. So I did a little bit of research since I don't know what any of the caves are on this map. And it turns out one of the caves I have to go to, it's not really a cave, but one of the artifacts I need to complete this game is in the radiation zone. So it looks like I'm going back to Aberration area.
So I'd have to go back when I thought I was done with that area. I gathered together some structures to make a little base down there, as well as crafted myself a bed fabricator and a smithy. I would need polymer for things like a hazmat suit, so I brought some organic polymer as well. And then I was off.
It's nice to fly with one of these. They're way faster than what I've been getting around with.
I needed a hazmat suit to go into the radiation zone, which needed gas balls, which needed a gas collector, and that needed red gems, which was in the radiation zone. It's like you need credit to have credit to make credit to have credit. So my whole plan was for drop RNG to carry me. At least the one thing that was within my control was setting up a little base.
It's not fancy, but it's a house.
On day 64, I wanted to find where the closest gas vein was to my base, so I wandered around hoping to complete a few things at once. I did come across a moss chat with a baby, and that would be a good berry mushroom gatherer if I needed it, and I could fit them in my base.
I'm gonna claim that baby.
I got rid of the parent, then claimed the baby that was hiding under the ground. I cryoed it because it had short stubby legs, and I brought it back with me to base to grow up. I wanted to hang out in the doorway, which was fine since there was blue gems right in front of my base. I needed these for a suit, so I figured I'd just get everything for now. When I had the gas balls, I'd be ready to go. I harvested the area completely, getting loads of blue gems, stone, and crystal. I had to move the baby, and then aside from the gas balls, I just needed fiber and hide, which wouldn't be too hard to get. So I went back out to look for a gas vein, collecting any drops I found along the way. The creature population was still looking a bit scarce, but some things like roll rats started popping up. As I gathered drops, I went back down to drop off what I had to not get weighed down too much. The moss shops was all grown up now, and I named them Spot.
Yeah, super original, I know.
I then went back out for the gas vein search, and I finally found one.
If I wait here, balls should come out of here. They should come out. I should be able to just pick them up.
So I waited. I had to be careful, as you can get poisoned by the fumes.
There's some balls right there.
I attempted to grab some gas, but it disappeared before I could grab it.
Oh.
Even if I could get them, it wasn't going to be much at a time, and I'd have to wait a really long time only sitting here by waiting and waiting for the ground to fart. So for now, I marked the spot on my map for future use. On day 65, I kept my search for loot drops, and some part of me was still hoping to find some other kinds of dinos down here. Eventually, I found something I was looking for a while.
Oh snap! This is my first Carcanos I've seen. 140 and you got a baby? Oh. Be great, because that's what I wanted when I came down here in the first place. Hopefully it doesn't pick me off. I hope it doesn't. Gonna want your kid too. That's actually perfect. I can't believe we found this. All right.
Pretty much the moment I first came down here, I was looking for this thing.
I think we got this. Nice. Nice. Come here, little baby. You come here, you.
Yes. This was a great find, and it seemed like the spawns might be working, or at least trying to. I made my way back to my base, collecting different drops on the way back.
I feel like this is the first Carno I've seen too. Maybe it's because I'm staying down here for so long that some other things are spawning in now.
This red area was taunting me, but then I had another thought.
I can't do anything without the red gems, and I don't think earthquakes happen down here like normal, so... I might be able to get some from a roll rat, maybe. Oh, actually, that's something. I could do that, because roll rats do that. I could find one. I have to sit there and watch it the whole time.
Since roll rats were spawning down here now, that could be a possibility. Until then, I wanted to make the Carcanos saddle, which needed fungal wood and blue gems, so I gathered those resources down here. Then I made the Carcanos saddle and decided to head back home to raise up the little crab. I made it back early on the morning of day 66 and dropped off all the saddles I got from the underworld. I unpotted the crab and gave her some spoiled meat to raise up. Now that I had a crab, I wanted to find another Doedicurus and an Anki so I could get some double dual wielding gathering going on. I searched around for some decent levels and I found a 150 Doedicurus. I brought it back to base and it tranked it out easy enough, then threw some berries in it. Then I went back out and picked up a drop with a better rifle. Then I searched a little bit longer for an Anki and I found a 145 Anki that I brought back to base.
And you're down. Nice. Only dual wielding harvesters.
I was going to get so much done now.
So what I think I'll do while I'm waiting for this stuff to raise, I need to fortify this gate here because everything keeps just climbing over here. I mean, I need to put a tower there too as well, but like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's just in here. I'm gonna mess up my stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna need to fortify this, so I'm gonna have to go on another gathering run just to get some supplies to be able to build up this wall here.
First, I needed to take my crab out for a little walk. Then I took Splinterell out for another wood run. A Diplo started in on Justin first thing on the morning of day 67.
Everyone got beef with Justin. It's crazy. Alright, I guess he gave up. Just kind of walked right over.
Then I went for a metal run after everything settled and I came back to a weird sight.
Oh man, I wonder what that could be. Kidding me? Sitting on top of the trees like that. So weird.
I dropped up the metal, then picked up a red drop with stuff I could grind up later on.
Originally I wanted to bring a bunch of Spinos and maybe Deinonychus into the fight. But what I'm thinking now, I could go get some berries as well. It'd be a lot easier to get with a wyvern.
Figures. Just as I was done all my gathering, the Carcanos was fully grown. And I named her Bluetooth, because she was out here handling these connections. That, and she also has blue teeth. I had to get familiar with the controls again, but once I did, I was giving them the claws.
Do like that?
Yay!
But you never jumped that far. I going. Okay. Right over the ridge.
I wanted some levels on her, and I needed some meat anyway, so I started taking out the creatures in front.
Busting them up. Beat this raptor with a kangaroo. Oh, doing great. I mean, if you think about it, this must be terrifying to them. I mean, they've never seen one of these. At least an aberration. I'm like, oh, this is another day.
The Doedicurus tamed up while I was playing with the dinos out front. This is the moment I wanted for so long.
And then I take you. And now we're dual wielding. Smash these rocks. Get 'em, yes. Get 'em.
I had to get off to drop all the sand, but this was much faster than I was moving before. This would also work with the now tamed up Ankis as well. I ended off the night giving both of them some names. In the early morning of day 68, I was making a plan for my next moves.
I think I want to get some Theries. To bring into the fight. So if I can get some good level Theries, then I'll be good to go. And then we can focus all on the breeding at the same time. So I really can't build my workshop until I have a forge. I can start to build all that stuff.
So I went down to the pool below to get some oil for the industrial forge. Then I needed some polymer, and that I decided to craft since I had tons of cementing paste. I harvested more than enough obsidian to take care of all my obsidian needs, and then I crafted 250 polymer. That was going to take a little bit, so I went out to go look for some Theries. I remember seeing some in an area not too far from my base, and I was lucky to find a 145 male right away. I picked it up and quickly brought it back where Bluetooth could hold them down while I proceeded to trank him out. I wish I had Bluetooth earlier. I fed him some berries, then went over to get a red drop real quick, in which I got another Rex saddle blueprint. Theory torpor drops faster than my frame rate in a forest, so I made a cooking pot and then made some exceptional kibble. I forced a bunch of drugs into this thing and then flew over to another red drop only to miss it as soon as I landed. I kept up my drop gathering on the morning of day 69 and didn't get anything super crazy. I made sure the theory was alright, and it should be since it only had one feeding left. So I went back out to find him a companion. I stopped for a blue drop on the way, and honestly, this drop was more useful to me than the last few red drops. I kept on my search for a female Theory, and it was a little tough since they like hiding in all these trees. I really couldn't see a level until I landed. And then I got attacked by a parent for flying in the same airspace, I guess? What do you want? I didn't even touch your kids! Get away from me! This thing wants to fight!
That's crazy. Wait, now you don't want to fight? Because I landed?
It eventually left me alone and I kept moving forward. I spotted a 135 on the coast and figured this would be good enough between the two. I could just get the best stats on one baby and make it work. It was a pretty long ride back, and for this one it just kept swiping at my tail hole. I eventually made it home and used the same tactics I used on the other Theory. It was down and I fed it some exceptional kibble.
Not a great theory, but you know what? We have some theories in there. You know, they might be the edge that we need, maybe.
But the Theory taming, that would most likely be the last of the taming I need to do for this playthrough. It was now day 70 and I could finally craft the industrial forge. I figured out where I wanted to place the gate I already had. Then that helped me in determining where I wanted to place my forge. I needed power and had some wind turbines and figured might as well use them. It said I had no access to the sky, so I tried it on the ledge above to see if that would work, but that didn't look great either. Eventually I found a spot closer to the forge that would work. Now, the Theory was all tamed up, and it tamed out with even better stats than the higher level one. And that's just how it works sometimes. I moved them together and brought Egbert over to grab up any eggs. I named them their stats, then got them breeding. I had to start filling out my crafting area and looked to see what I needed for a grinder, and I needed to get a lot of resources again. I wasn't going to work on that right now this second, as I needed to work on more building. I put up some walls to see how tall I wanted to make this floor, and then I got to crafting lots and lots of walls and ceilings. On day 71, I needed to replenish my metal, and now that I had the industrial forge, ingots were going to happen so much faster now. So I took out the Ankies with Bluetooth and dual-wheeled my way into wealth. I pulled all of the metal and then started working more on the build. Then I discovered something life-changing.
Let me see here. Can I craft the wall? I can craft in the smithy. Why didn't I think I could do that?
This was actually another perk of the mod. Of course, I was still painfully broke on resources, so I spent the rest of the afternoon and night farming. Capped the night off by accidentally offending a kangaroo.
He said, "Why you hit me?" My bad.
I then located my smithy to the new crafting area and started churning out stone pieces. On day 72, I grabbed some thatch in the morning and picked up a green drop which had some surprisingly useful resources. Then took out the dodix for more stone. I really wish these rocks didn't have sand. I made some more walls, then continued to build my stairs. At some point I made the pickup gun, which was part of the mod I was using, and it helped to pick up structures. This is super useful because the build was massive and it would be tough to reach certain structures. While I was crafting, I had an unexpected visitor.
Oh no. This guy just walked right over. Bust him up. Bluetooth don't play.
Quickly dispatched, but it made me think I needed a wall around the platform. On day 73, I placed down a fabricator in the crafting area to try and work on the grinder again. I was short on cementing paste and there was a blue drop close by, and I was feeling lucky today.
Oh, we got cementing paste. Nice.
Then I pulled for some more resources, which I had just enough crystal but not enough metal ingots, so I needed to wait around for them to smelt.
What I kind of want to do is, I have a lot of Deinonychus eggs, and I don't think I'm bringing any Deinonychus to the boss, if I'm being honest. So maybe we hatch up some of these eggs. Not the dookie ones, not the dookie ones.
So I placed down good eggs and then just stood there waiting for them to hatch.
There we go, little babies. Alright, come on kids.
Brought them closer to the trough so they could eat. I was still waiting for ingots, so I continued to work on the walls of my castle.
I can't tell if you're helping or not. Alright, you guys don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Bye. Now we actually have a perimeter around our whole thingy here.
And on day 74, I finally finished the first row of walls, and I had many more to go. I checked on the status of the metal situation for the grinder, and it was so close. So I placed down some stairs and crafted some sloped walls. Then checked it again, and now I needed oil. I knew I had some on the other side, so I grabbed that, and then I needed polymer.
Now we're going to need 600 polymer. So what is the easiest way for me to get polymer? The easiest way for me to get polymer, I don't know.
Dead dolphins! I had to think on that for a moment. While I did that, I had a lot of Theory eggs now that were going to need a hatchery area. I then leveled up some of the grown Deinonychus. Then I had the idea just to craft the polymer I needed. To do that, I would need cementing paste. So I headed over to the beavers to see what goods they got for me. Kept looting through the night and into the morning of day 75. I took a little more than what I needed, so while I was at it, I also took their trees. On my way back, I had a realization.
I don't think at this point I'm getting another wyvern. I think this is mine. So, I need to name this one.
I grabbed a useful purple drop on the way back, and I set out to crafting the polymer I needed for the grinder. I had another Doedicurus saddle, so Pebbles got to get one as well. Then I grabbed some obsidian to make all the polymer, which was going to take a while to make. So, back to building I go. I was still sorting out the stair situation since this is where my guests would come up into the party hall. Once I finished up this part, I flew up to collect some more red drops.
Got another Rex saddle. It's a nice Rex saddle.
On day 76, I set up an area with air conditioners I had for a hatchery. Egbert has been doing a great job tending to the theories, but he needed to go inside now with all the eggs. I made a feeding trough for all these mouths I would have to feed, and I had a ton of theory eggs to hatch, and they did so pretty quickly. I made a dino gun to save time, but didn't know how to switch modes, so I did everything manually like a caveman. It was a good amount of mess, and I needed to claim each of them and then look at the stats. After I did that, I figured out how the gun worked, and I slowly worked through checking all the theories, trying to get a male and a female with the good stats. Sometimes the gun didn't work so well, but I think it helped a little.
Hello? You gotta go.
It was sort of unfortunate that it was the perfect temperature for theories to hatch, and I had some being born on the grass outside, which just added to the chaos, so I had to keep stopping to walk them in myself. I went to check on this polymer situation, and I can now finally make the grinder. I then sorted through some of the things I had to grind them up for resources. On day 77, Trunk Norris had a lot of saddles on him he would not need. The theories grew faster than the Rex babies, but ate berries like they were trying to bankrupt me. Some of these theories were not it.
Like, why? I need you to give him the claws. Just did this before. Alright, sort this out.
Bluetooth knows how to handle the business. Once they were separated, it was a little easier to figure out which ones I needed and didn't. In my journey of trying to organize everything, I needed a space for my perishables, so I first checked if I had acquired a refrigerator in my drop hunt. I didn't, so then I had to make one. Then I needed to organize my blueprints.
I don't have very many blueprints, actually. I thought I had more.
I checked on all the theories I had to get the perfect pair of theories to start breeding boss dinos. I was looking for the same levels and stats, but since I was getting close to the end, I might have to be a little messy with it.
Killed the wrong one. Great.
I kind of messed these up, so I had my original theories breed some more. Then I got to work on my kitchen area. I placed down the fridge and then started pulling for all the eggs and stews. Then in the middle of doing that, I had the idea of having a fridge just for eggs. So I made another and then set that down next to it. On day 78, as I was sorting, I realized that everything was unpowered.
Oh, they're all unpowered. We'll just get another windmill over on the other side there.
I kept my sorting, and I was a little curious about how much honey I had, and this was a safe way for me to check. There's only 6? Yeah, that can't be right. Those 3 hives have been producing honey for over 30-something days in game, and I only got 6 in between them? Maybe it could only reach one of the hives. Even with just that, that's still not a lot. If I didn't get this honey issue sorted, my theory armor for the boss fight was going to crumble. I've been around base a lot, so it couldn't be the render. I would just have to hope it all works out.
Okay, that's that.
I cleaned up the stray theories, relieved U-Haul of 800 pounds of saddles, and made plans for a vault that would hold all my boss fight gear. I needed polymer for that, which I would most likely get from the grinder. Fed everything that wasn't a Rex or theory saddles into the grinder. As I kept pulling saddles, I saw another red drop in the distance.
Yeah, where can I get theory saddle blueprints? Yeah, I think the theory saddles might also be in a red drop.
When I came back, I cleaned up the rest of my mini platform. Then I wanted to take this turbine to power the other side of my castle. I had to repair it first, then picked it up and place it down. I claimed a theory baby only to take it out in the same breath.
Bye.
I still didn't have a proper wall, so I started crafting as many large walls as I could. Threw some more items in the grinder for resources for the vault, and while I was in the middle of sorting, I got interrupted.
This guy starting something? Dude, get out of here, you. I don't want you starting trouble again. You gotta go. I don't even know why you're here. Oh, that's as far as you go? Okay. You gotta go. Yeah, we gotta get this wall built.
I still had the large walls crafting, but I could still use these quarter walls I had to keep working on the castle walls. I started the early morning of day 79 finally working on my defense wall. I had to fix a few things in the floor as it wasn't lining up quite right.
I see what happened now. I see what happened now. And that wasn't supposed to do that. Alright. Nice.
And then I had to stop for some more theory babies.
Maybe we'll get lucky and get some twins and our boy and girl with good stats.
Bad twins. Never mind. And then I got blessed by the Ark gods.
This is a girl and a boy. Oh, please have good stats. Yes, this is what we want. We want these two.
Got my perfect pair of theories to raise a boss dino. All these other ones needed to go. So I needed these two to raise up, but I noticed something funky aside from the future incest.
Are one of you mutated?
This could be a point in movement speed, but I wasn't worried about it as this was as close as it was going to get for now. While they raised up, I kept working on my castle. When I finished up the row, I turned my attention to the Rexes. I needed a perfect pair for boss dinos for them as well, so I went through the Rexes I had, getting rid of the ones I didn't.
Alright, so you gotta go. Dang! He was living amongst you the whole time.
I had an extra female that would be great in producing more dinos. Then I cryoed up all my winners. And then I ended the day flying off for another week red drop. On day 80, I set out my first perfect Rex and I had to wait for the cryo timer. I organized and crafted up a vault for all my future boss items. Then threw out another Rex, and organized it a bit before killing a sheep in my yard for mutton. I needed mutton because I wanted to tame a Uteranus. So I also needed to prep for my trip to the snow biome. By now the theories were all raised up, so I named them and then got them breeding. It was then I threw out my last Rex and I had them all lovemaking in the corner. I finished up any final preparations. Making a chemistry bench was amongst one of those things because, yeah, it was time. I should have had one like 40 days ago. I started the morning of day 81 by slamming down the chemistry bench. Gunpowder cooked. Trank arrows pulled. Then I was off to the snow biome to find a Uteranus. I stopped on a cliff to wait for a red drop, and when that was happening, I finally named my ice wyvern Elsa.
You got a name. Don't die now on me.
I know, first popular ice lady name that came to mind, and my creativity is limited before breakfast. I kept moving forward, picking up any drops I felt worth getting. I made my way to the wyvern trench and peeked a little to see if I could spot an egg. But it was day 81, and to be honest, I just named my wyvern, and I really wouldn't need another one for more than what I was using this one for. Plus, I was really worried about getting messed up by fire and ice, so I pressed on looking for Uties. Which it was weird since I seen some in this area before, and now I couldn't find a single one.
This is how Ark be all the time. As soon as you try and look for something, it's nowhere to be found. I haven't found a single Utie yet, and they were all over the place before.
I found myself searching through the night and into day 82, flying over the orange tundra where I finally spotted some Uties. I'll admit, I was getting a little worried of not being able to find any, let alone a decent level.
Exactly how it works.
I made my way through the whole area and decided to turn back, hoping some new ones either spawned or maybe I missed some. And I did, because I found a 140 and a 135 pretty close to each other. Either one of these will do. Since I was riding a wyvern, I wouldn't get fear roared right away, and I'd be able to place down metal billboards to attempt to trap it. Keyword, attempt.
Oh, you hit hard.
Ah! You got out of the one little door. Jeez. Several failed attempts later,
I think you're trapped. I'm not really sure.
I want to say yes, and eventually Elsa got scared.
Oh no.
Hey, you get scared too with a stinky dino breath hitting you point blank. But somehow, by the grace of sloppy geometry, the Utie ended up trapped. Not beautifully, not gracefully, but trapped is trapped. I started tranking it, but immediately showcased my Olympic level ability to miss shots point blank. Some wolves wanted to start with me, and that I was able to take care of pretty easily. Then I got back to pumping this thing with arrows. I got it down and fed it some mutton I had. I decided to just babysit since this area was so dangerous, and good thing I did because soon after, Carno came over trying to start something. And then another one. And some more. Shortly after, the Utie tamed up and I was out of there. I was on my way home on day 83 and I grabbed some more drops, all while ranting to myself about boss prep.
Alright, we got our Uteranus. Now we can head back home and basically get into a bunch of breeding and just gotta pick up a couple of artifacts. I think there's a couple trophies we have to get, but then that's it.
I plopped all the unnecessary things in the grinder once I got back, and I threw out the Yudi so I could get it some XP since a lot of killing was going to be happening in these quarters. Then to free up some cryos, I made the executive decision to get rid of my weakest Rex. I then looked over some boss prep things such as which Rex saddles I would be taking in.
This is the best that we have. We need a lot of fiber, lots of hide, and metal ingots. So we're gonna have to start farming pretty soon for these saddles. I don't know how many I'm bringing into the boss fight, but might bring more Rexes in just because I have the saddle.
I still had a little time to figure out what dinos I would take more of. I had a bunch of eggs to hatch. For some reason, some of the Theries had bad stats, and that had to be some oopsie on my part, but I set the good ones aside to raise up.
I still have to go down into the aberration area and wait for red gems. I gotta find a roll rat. That's like my best way to do this. Find a roll rat and then get red gems from one of them, and then make a gas canister and make a hazard suit. Because it looks like I'm not going to be getting a rock drake. I mean, I could still get a rock drake. I could still get one. I mean, it's just not really that useful now at this point because we're kind of at the end. We kind of have everything we need. We just got to breed and mutate and finish building our castle.
On day 84, I did some organizing, egg hatching, and some crafting for building. I had a lot of babies raising, and while I was okay on meat, these Theries were still little fatties. A couple of swipes with the U-Haul's tail, and that problem was quickly solved. Another problem I was having was the ability to craft a lot of building pieces due to lack of space. So I made another smithy to help with that. I then crafted the industrial cooker and industrial grill since these kids were going to start asking for certain little treats. The Rexes, meanwhile, were clumped together so tightly they formed one singular dino mass. I imprinted the ones that I could.
Go walkies with some of you. One of you want to cuddle? Are you the one who wants to go on a walk? You want to cuddle? You want to go on a walk? Alright, that counts.
On day 85, I worked on my kitchen area by placing down the cooker and grill. The cooker needed to be hooked up to water, so I had to craft a few water tanks and then daisy chain them back. Then I went back to taking care of the babies for imprints.
Alright, it's a complete mess in here. We're gonna have to organize all this stuff, but you know what? We're doing it. It's happening.
I was a bit thirsty and I had no more water in the canteen, and since I didn't want to take any away from my water tank situation, I went down to the pool of water for a drink. And on my way, I saw an Alpha Rex hanging out around in my front yard.
Might be able to take out the Deinonychus to come help me with that.
To take the Deinonychus out, I needed to level them a little when I found a little buddy.
Oh, you're actually useful.
Lystros help your dinos level up a little bit faster by giving them a boost when you give them a pet.
Yeah, level up my dinos.
It was looking like I was gearing up for a big battle, and I needed to get these saddles on all these Deinonychus. Once saddled up, I took them out of each other. I haven't used them once yet, so this was very exciting to do. I got on Butcher and I had them follow me, and half of them got stuck on the wall.
Oh no.
So I had to remove pieces of it just to let some of them through to take on to the fight. Only some of them got through, but I wasn't going to spend half the day trying to get them through. We needed to take care of this Rex. It was fighting a Bronto, so I took a bite of it while I was distracted, and soon after the Deinonychus jumped in.
These things are bleeding. They're fighting the wrong thing, but okay, we're doing it. They're gonna die. They are gonna die. Oh. They stay behind it, they're okay. Did you get all of them? Well, they killed all of them.
After the Deinonychus died, it started to rain, and it was looking like an epic one-on-one battle with this monster. Eventually, my bite was better, and Butcher took the Alpha down.
Yes! I don't even think these Deinonychus can go into the boss fight, like, unless I can get them really high leveled, but I don't think it's a thing. It's like, you're going to the boss fight, Butcher.
I'd figure out something for the Deinonychus. Shortly after, I found an imposter in the nursery, and I took care of them. Then I brought the Lystro inside to help level up my army.
Alright, I'm tired of my workshop being wet, so let's finish up the ceiling.
On day 86, I hatched some more eggs, mostly Theries, and I gave the Rexes a break since I had enough. I sorted out some newly born Theries, and I got a weird message when that happened.
From what? Who was it killed from?
Guess if it starved to death, then I'd need another feeding trough on the other side.
Feeding trough over here.
With the new batch of Theries raising, I continued to build. I needed a way to get up and down between floors, so I put a hatch door and ladders in each of the 4 columns I could reach. Walls went up, floors got laid. Structures slowly started looking like an actual castle. It was now day 87 and I wasn't done yet, as this was the party hall for guests. and I got started on another 2 rows of walls before I had to tend to some of the kids. I did a little cooking and some organization before trying to plug up a hole that I missed. I needed more food for the Theres, so I got some berries with U-Haul and I spotted another Bella I tamed up with berries. I had to make sure everyone was well fed as I was going to make another trip to the Aberrant area. I even brought the surviving Deinonychus with me. Maybe they'd thrive down there. Before I got to the cave entrance, I saw something that made me rethink my whole life. Is that a Spino? That is the first Spino I've seen. Oh, come on. I wanted to take Spinos. First Spino just sitting in the pond. I mean, to be fair, I don't think I've gotten a single Spino saddle or blueprint or anything like that, but nice to know. Almost 100 days in, and you know, level 95 Spino decided to show up, I guess. There's like literally no other ones. Just you. A lone Spino. On day 88, I made my way down with Lunara. I'm gonna head to an area where I saw a roll rat before, and hopefully they're spawning incorrectly because the spawns have just been so weird with this whole playthrough. Yeah, I hope we get lucky and maybe we'll get a lot of gems, but I'm still gonna have to wait around. And it's just, I mean, we're kind of at the end here, and I really only need this hazmat suit to get 1 artifact. I got done that for 2 seconds. I don't know. I don't know if it was worth it. I don't know if I should just do another boss or what, really. Because I really just don't want to wait down here for 27 years to try and get red gems. Because as far as I know, earthquakes don't happen here, so let's see if we can find a roll rat. I searched around for a bit and thought maybe the Deinonychus would run a little faster. Oh man, you can't even hold me. Okay, I guess you just live down here now. I don't know. So these guys are pretty much useless. Wandering around some more, I finally found a roll rat. Now I play the waiting game. I just gotta wait, give me them red gems. Hey, them gems red? No. It's either this, or I don't know. I mean, I guess I just run in there with a bunch of health and grab some red gems real quick, maybe? And then, I don't know. Mushroom it up. Like, realistically, this is not the best use of my time. I have a castle to build. I have artifacts to get. I have an army to raise. But, just waiting on you and your red gems. Oh, wow. You didn't even come up properly that time. I waited around a good portion of the day for this one to cough up a red gem. I did have the thought that maybe the ground did matter, and since there wasn't a blue area, maybe I wouldn't even be able to get one. I was hoping that wasn't the case. I ran off to find another roll rat who had another buddy in the area. I waited, and waited, and waited, until... Red gem! Red gem! I had to take it out since they don't like when you touch their gems. Give me the red gem. 12! You got 12. Okay, maybe this other one can give us the rest that we need. Then I ran into the other, which didn't take too long to give me more red gems. Yes! I quickly got back to base to craft the gas collector and then placed it on the gas main marked near my base. Now I just had to collect the gas balls, so I took myself back out the cave. It was now day 89 and I was so close to the snow biome, I wanted to find a Daedon to help heal up all the dinos at once they were leveled. I had to go past this guy again. Look at this one spine. I hate this thing. Then I found myself eyeing up something I was going to have to deal with pretty soon. Alright. Problem in the future for future me, sometime in the next 10 days me. I was checking all the snowy tops and I couldn't find any Daedons until I made my way towards the tundra. I searched around for a parent with a kid as I thought it'd be easier to just claim a baby, since I wasn't using a Daedon for a boss fight. I finally found a level 55 with a kid, and its whole family was starting in on this mammoth. When they were done with them, I had to take them out, and Daedons can be a little annoying due to their healing abilities. I flew away from this group so I could try and find the kid, but I couldn't spot them. That might actually be the kid down there. No, it's a fish. They'd be easier if I could separate them. I didn't want to spend any more time on this than that, so I just picked up a level 20 to take back home and tame. So this is what I didn't want. I didn't want a piggy.
chomping at my butthole on the way home. So that's what they're gonna do. That's what's gonna happen.
Because of my sore butt, I stopped and I wanted to see if I could find this kid. So I turned around dropping the pig and I found a 140 with a kid. Since I guess I was taming now, I might as well get a good one. I scooped it up and since it didn't see me, it was pretty chill. I brought it back for Bluetooth to hold while I knocked it out. I threw some mutton inside, but the percentage it went up was awful. Almost 3%.
That is not good.
So I made some exceptional kibble and it went up 30%, which was much better. Their food drops pretty fast, so it was tamed up in no time. The kid didn't teleport, but it wasn't needed since I only needed one Daeodon and that would be enough. I named it Hakuna Matata because now I had no worries about healing. On day 90, I looked in my vault and I saw I had 3 Rex saddles. I was going to need to farm these saddles and needed to know how much I should be getting. I had a feeling a lot of those resources were in the grinder, but the Mastercraft blueprint was much cheaper, so I'd be crafting from that one. I still needed to work on the castle, so I got a bunch of pillars crafted. I then unloaded these bum dinos and started to farm saddles.
I need lots of metal, I need lots of fiber, and I need lots of hide. So, butcher, let's start with you. Meat from that guy.
I will say I got a little curious while chomping on all the critters.
I wonder, there was a chalky boy over here. I wonder if I can beat him. Okay, let's do it. Oh, I can't take this thing. I can't take this thing, no way. Alright, 67.
I quickly found out I had no shot.
Oh, I messed up because that thing can destroy my base too. Alright, it's not angry at me anymore. Okay, we're gonna leave that guy alone. 67 damage.
So I went back to my hide gathering activities and never came out over here again. I wanted to gather up metal next, but for whatever reason I was having a hard time finding both Ankies.
Where's my other Anki at? Oh my gosh, it's right in front of me.
Okay, it was pretty late for me when I recorded this. And then I farmed up some more stone, using a little trick I wish I used earlier.
And this is honestly what I should have done from the get-go, and I just didn't. I didn't even think of it. Sand. Watch this. Sand. Oh. You got sand? You got sand? Give me all of it. Now you got no more sand. Fun. Now we can get back to stones. It's pretty great.
It didn't occur to me before since I usually don't use mods for vanilla play, but it was super useful for big builds. I went back inside to get the metal smelting and I had to put some things away.
Oh, it's so crowded in here with no lights. Okay, it's not my most efficient base design, but it's a castle. This is the dungeon area. We don't need anything, you know, we don't need it to look nice down here. or be efficient. Alright, get all that metal cooking.
The rain wasn't getting on me anymore, but now my party room was wet, so I had to get building on that level. On day 91, I wanted to head back to the aberration area to get the artifact, and since I was going to be down there, I might as well swipe a rock drake egg too. So Bluetooth was going to be clutch here. On my way, I spotted something pretty interesting.
This is a double Quetzal? Oh, dude, the baby? What? And it's a 145? I don't need a Quetzal, but I mean, that would have been super useful.
It's just like Ark to do me like this.
Man.
I spent most of the day making the long trek down to the aberrant area, hopefully for the last time.
What's it like to be back home?
Once I made it to my gas collector, I was a bit disappointed.
Oh, that is not enough. That's all we collected?
It's been like over a week and I only got 47? Only 49?
Wow.
What is this?
So maybe it had to be loaded in, because that don't even make any sense. I mean, I've left it alone for at least a few days. Okay, well, that kind of sucks. I was hoping to be able to make a suit. I need 125 to be able to make a suit, and I only got 49. So let's see how much we can make.
I ranted for longer than I'd like to admit, but the takeaway was clear. Out of render, out of luck. I was running out of time, but for now, this is all I could do.
I can make pants. I can make boots. I need 15, 35, 65 more balls. Cool. Cool. Alright, well, it looks like we're just waiting for stuff then. I don't know. I can't do anything else. I need to go down in here to get this artifact. Like, it takes me almost a whole day to get down here. So I don't think it's beneficial for me to leave, to come back, to just do it again. So I guess we're just waiting. I mean, while I'm waiting, I might as well do some research on the other artifacts because I don't know anything about this. Why'd you poop on my shoulder, man? This was probably because I was out of render, which is kind of dumb for something that collects passively. Since I was thinking about rock drakes, I did some research on what I needed for a rock drake saddle, and I still needed more polymer for suits, so I was going to have to find some carcanos down here anyway. I went down by the river and I found a carcanos I smacked up enough for polymer to craft the rest out of a suit. Yeah, I'll need 85 gems to make a rock drake saddle, so I think that's probably the move, because you know what? I can get rock drakes and I can get the artifact at the same time. Why not both? I wanted a rock drake. I'm gonna get a rock drake. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time trying to get a good level. It's just we are at the end. And really at this point, getting a rock drake is just to say I have a rock drake. On day 92, I try to keep busy by grabbing drops in the morning. No. Then check the collector after getting poisoned first and got another 35 balls. Kind of wild, and one day I was here, I got 35, and the other time I got a little more. If I had known, I would have just stayed here the whole time. I made some more pieces of a hazard suit. Then I just kind of sat there healing up Bluetooth since I was working with these legs like crazy, and carcanos do still take fall damage. After I spent a good portion of the day stuffing her face with rotten meat, a thought crossed my mind. Well, another thing I think I can get while I'm down here is Sarco skins. I think I need 15 of those, so you'd think there'd be snakes down here too, but I didn't see any. I still need a good amount of skins, so I was off to go find either baddies. I searched around for a good bit, collecting drops as I roamed around, and as per usual in Ark, I could never find the creatures I was looking for. Then purely out of boredom, I started killing random things. When will I have enough? I collected another 34 balls, then complained some more about the mechanics. Yeah, I'm only getting one suit, and just as ridiculous. That's all we got time for. That sucks though, that it doesn't like collect if I'm not here. Like, it kind of defeats the purpose of that. If anything, then I should just be able to farm it then. Like, was it always like that? I don't think so. I ran between the vein and my house just for something to do, and I got another 6 balls. Oh, come on, one more burst. I waited for the last eruption to give me enough balls to finally make a full hazard suit to go into the radiation zone. Now we got our full set of hazard, and somehow I shaved. Alright, so first things first, we're gonna head in there, get enough red gems for a rock drake saddle. Nice. Then decided to go deeper in. I kept my descent early morning of day 93 and I encountered a carcanos guard in a red drop. I quickly took it out and I saw a rock drake in the distance. I decided to pull it over first before grabbing this drop. I can shoot off the back of this? What? Didn't realize that was a thing. If I wanted to get a rock drake, I was going to need nameless venom, so I turned off Hitori's light hoping they would spawn. And only they would spawn. Yeah, we don't want you. Eventually, as I worked my way down, I encountered something weird. What was that? I hear them, I don't see them though. Bluetooth may be wireless, but these claws were not, as I was still connecting with what looked to be some phantom nameless under the mesh. I just kept whacking until I couldn't hear them anymore. Okay, got invisible nameless, that's great. And as I kept going down, I finally ran into the artifact of the gatekeeper. It wasn't too bad of a run, and since I saw a bunch of rock drake nests, I figured I'd grab an egg while I was down here. I saw level 50, and I hope that there were some better levels than that. But just like everything that has happened so far, the spawns have been very weird. I found some nests I believe I could reach if I jumped from this ledge. Bluetooth made it way to the top and then a big jump across the nest. Oh yeah, we got this. Alright. Let's see what this egg is. What is it? 175? Yes, I'm picking that one for sure. Alright. I don't think I'm gonna make it, but let's try. Yes. Alright, 175 rock drake egg, let's go. Oh, they're coming. They're coming. I had no clue how many were down here, but I needed to book it out of here. I don't know where they're at. Oh, they're invisible. I only fought one?
Maybe the others were busy with other things. I didn't have a clue if they were still chasing me or not, but nothing was on me at the moment, so I stopped to grab a drop real quick, since this would definitely be my last time here. For sure, my last time. I spotted another drop that was yellow. I jumped up to get it, and it had a rock drake saddle, and I didn't quite check the rest of everything, as I wanted to just get out.
With that, we made it out alive.
Once I was safe, I stopped to see what I got, and this game's got jokes.
Apprentice rock drake saddle, nice. Apprentice spino saddle, oh my gosh. This game is something else, man.
Whatever, I'm done here. Bye everyone, bye Spot. Next time you see me, I'll be the champion of Valguero. It took the rest of the day for me to get out and fly back home.
Okay, that was the one I was worried about the most. Not necessarily in terms of difficulty, just time. I just needed all that time to like farm for the balls for the suit. But now that we did that one, we got a rock drake egg. We got the artifact of the gatekeeper. All right, now we got 3 more artifacts to go.
I got home in the middle of the night wanting to hatch up this rock drake egg. I placed it down and it was too hot, so I needed to make some more air conditioners. Normally the rock drakes like it pretty cold, so I needed a lot.
Usually need like 20 of them. Too hot still.
So I doubled it, crafting 8 more.
Incubating, yes.
I needed to work on my trophy room now that I have some artifacts. Well, an artifact, but I gotta show it off. On day 94, I checked my vaults to see how I was looking for boss prep, and I still needed a lot of tributes. The rock drake hatched up with some awesome colors in the early morning.
I'm happy with this one. I'm happy with the colors and stuff, and it's a 175. You got good health.
The rock drake needed some care soon, so it was going to be another day around the base. I figured I could do more building and boss prep. Maybe get some levels in some of the boss dinos.
Where is Bella? Bella, how come you're not named? Bella. You're always a Bella. Level my guys up.
I went through the list of things I could grind up for resources to help with making these saddles. I did make sure to pull out these lampposts to place down since it does get pretty dark here at night. After I was done some of the cleanup, I proceeded to keep working on the ceiling of my castle. I took a break to give some nameless venom to the baby rock drake. Then I quickly grabbed a red drop with a better shotgun. I then went back to work on my ceiling till it was finished.
Alright, now it's not wet anymore in there.
And the crazy person that I am, I felt I needed a whole other floor for the height. On day 95, the rock drake was fully grown and saddled up.
Do you even fit through this door? Probably not. Alright, well, looks like we're gonna have to turn off the cryo sickness because I gotta get all these dinos at, and I'm not rearranging this whole build. Not doing it.
Before I forgot, I wanted to make the gene scanner to help me find some creatures on the map for tributes. Now, it's probably been years since I last properly used a rock drake, and I had to familiarize myself with the controls again. I tested it out to see how strong it was.
Oh. This thing's so much stronger. Feels criminal, though. Take out these Rexes.
Then I went hunting for more drops.
Yeah, this is the way... This is the way I should have been traveling this whole time.
I really forgot how reliant on stamina these things were. Eventually I decided to make my way north in hopes of finding a cave that had the artifact of the crag located inside. I also attacked Archies I saw to get more claws for tributes. While I was in the midst of biting them feet off, I was attacked by a nightmare. What's that?
Oh, you need it. Oh, I don't know how to fight you. Do you want it? He's throwing fireballs and stuff. Get out of here with that. Ain't trying to lose this thing. Oh, what level you are.
And as quickly as the Dreadmare showed up, it vanished on the morning of day 96, and it was a good thing since I had a hard time chomping at it. It took me a little longer to find the entrance of the artifact cave as it was pretty tiny. Once I located it, I switched to Sparky since you could take flyers into the cave, which was awesome. I used bug repellent to keep any creatures away, and I used cactus sprout just for a little extra reassurance. When I entered there was lava everywhere, but the bats didn't seem bothered by my presence. I grabbed 2 loot crates before finding the artifact in this very small cave.
The artifact of the crag.
I looked around for any more loot drops, and this drop had something that I definitely could have used early on. Where were you like 70 days ago? Once I left the cave, I thought maybe I could hunt some dinos for trophies, so I tried out the gene scanner. This scanner is butt. It either wasn't working or my spawns were still messed up.
Alright, yeah, there's no Sarcos. No Sarcos. And then no Dinosuchus. Okay, so that's... Still need some of those. What about Titana? Do they just not exist? Titanoboas don't exist either. Okay, so I just wasted all my stuff for nothing.
They ask how you are, and you just have to say you're fine, and you're not really fine. Just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I was making my way back in record time with Cotton Candy despite some problems.
Like, the Rock Drake is strong, but, like, a little hard to maneuver around here just because of all the trees and stuff. And I'm still glad I got one, though.
It seemed most nights ended the same, where I'd get back, organize some things, level some dinos, and then proceed to work on my castle some more. On day 97, I was still building in the morning, and I wanted to finish up working on my little towers. It was so close to being done. I needed to go out for more artifacts, and after some base duties, I went out to find the cave with the artifact of the destroyer. It was an ice cave with all the normal ice baddies such as big bears, wolves, and Purlovias. The artifact wasn't too deep in this cave, and I had to swiftly move past this group into a room with the artifact at the end of a parkour pit. Well, I wasn't doing that, as I had Sparky.
Artifact of the destroyer.
Now, I had to get out, and most likely that mob was still standing there. Well, this didn't go well for old Phoenix.
Oh no. Oh gosh. That was bad. Alright, we gotta get out. How are we gonna get out of there? I have a way to get out. Oh wait, yes I do. Woo! Oh, come on.
And that was the end of my 100 days in Valguero Hardcore.
That's the first time I died.
I mean, that's what I would have said if I was playing Hardcore, but luckily I wasn't. Can I get an RIP for Sparky in the comments? I just kind of froze when I at least should have tried to shoot that thing, or at least throw something out, but that probably would have been even worse since I still had the cryo timer on. I was kind of more in shock that I made it this far without dying, and I thought because I was on a flyer I'd be good. Plus it was now day 98. I almost made it 100 days without a single death. Now this was a slight setback, because instead of getting another artifact, I now had to go back and get my stuff. I grabbed the saddest Pteranodon I owned. Seriously, this thing had the weight capacity of a damp paper towel, but with that I headed back to the ice cave. It wouldn't have been so bad if I didn't die with nearly all my good stuff and dinos along with the artifact. I figured I'd just go back with some fur, and I was so frazzled I made grapples that I didn't even take. I didn't realize that till later. One flight later and I'm back at the cave, sprinting past the murderous entrance, and there, floating like a tiny beacon of hope, Hitori. Still alive, still glowing, and still judging my life choices. I whistled Hitori over to me, and it looked like the Purlovia that got me was in the ground. I wasn't dealing with that, so I just pulled for the items. Is this cheating? I don't know. You be the judge. I got the artifact fair and square, and I was just unlucky leaving. I also had another problem rise up. My Pteranodon's weight stat was so bad it could barely carry itself. So I had the idea to put some stuff on Hitori to try and reduce the weight. I had to be careful to get off the ledge and try to get them to move towards me.
Come here, please. Come here. Okay. There we go. We can put some stuff on you.
I got rid of things I didn't need or I could make again. The important thing was getting out alive with the artifact. I left as soon as I was able to move and I was out of there.
Stay up. Okay. I mean, I guess that could have been way worse. We could have been deeper in the cave. There could have been a lot more bad things. We couldn't have been able to fly. Like, you know, it could have been a lot worse. I just spent a whole day doing that, though.
I got back on Elsa and headed home. Halfway through, I thought to search for some tributes, and this scanner wasn't working at all, or maybe they just didn't exist. But for now, I had 3 out of 4 artifacts. I was close. So close. But A champion needs a throne. You know, dress for the job you want. So I built one. Placed my artifacts around it like trophies of war.
Do I look cool here? Yeah, this looks pretty cool.
I decided to go back out, loaded up to the swamp area to look for the rest of my tributes. Still trying to use the scanner, but honestly my good old-fashioned eyeballs would work. I took out the rest of the dinos I needed to get enough Sarco skins and Titanobove on them.
You guys are exactly what I need. Give me all of your stuff.
Then I had to take out what I dreaded the most, the Giga. I remember seeing one in this grassy area since I didn't want to go back into the snow. So I whipped up the scanner just for this last dino.
Okay. Oh. All I had to do was turn and look.
It was right next to me. I was closer to the water and I was hoping I could bring it down so it would just drown.
There we go. I get a headshot. That's nice. Keeping his little head up.
Apparently they float now.
It's not drowning, but this is working, so we'll keep doing this.
So I climbed on Elsa's back and I started pumping headshots into his skull until it finally collapsed. Oh, I killed it! 1 heart down, 1 more to go. I went to the same area hoping for another, and there was a Karchar running about, and they also dropped gigahearts. Just had to get its attention to do the same tactic as before.
Oh, he's dead.
And with all that, I had the tributes I needed for the boss fight. It was now day 99 and I still had a lot of things to do today, like getting the last artifact I needed. It was located in a hidden temple that took me a little bit to find, but eventually I did. And you had to push a button to get inside. Now there were 2 artifacts in this cave, but I only needed 1, and supposedly it wasn't too far in. My plan was kinda to be cheeky about it, and by using bug spray and cactus broth to hopefully go undetected, grab the artifact, and then grapple my way back out. This all hinges on the idea that I'd be able to go out of the same door that I came in. It was a go! So I made my way through with Lenara.
Should be okay.
Down the opening and through the tunnels with none of the creatures aggroing to me. I eventually made my way to where the artifact was, and it wasn't there. So I figured I'd just wait for a little bit for it to spawn in. And nothing.
Toggle photo mode. Oh, I definitely hear it. It's in here.
Nothing but an artifact hum.
I definitely hear it, and it sounds like in the ground.
Totally unreachable without spiritual negotiations with the Ark gods.
It is in the ground. What am I supposed to do with that? I would have never got that. I would have never got it. I don't like doing stuff like that, but whatever.
Look, I would have never got this. Can't fault me for the bugginess of Ark, and if you do, you're probably going to let me know in the comments anyway. With my last invisible but very real artifact in hand, I went back the way I came, till I reached the pool of bats and then I showed them the real Batman and grabbed my way out.
Alright, we did it.
Exited the temple to go back home to put the artifact of the brute on my throne.
So with that, we got all 4 artifacts we need to do the boss fight. So I just got to do some final boss preparations, and we will be fighting the boss soon. That does look pretty sick.
I finished up my night making as many veggie cakes as I could for my theories, as it would help them heal during the fight. I also downed a crafting skill tonic, which allows you to keep your weight but puts all the points in the crafting skill. With that time, I made all the Mastercraft Rex saddles I needed to saddle up my army, and then I had only primitive saddles for my theories. Everything was coming together, and I had to get 1 final drop so I could make enough cryopods for my army. I had to get 1 final drop.
You know why I probably didn't find any Therizino saddles? Because there's no Therizinos on Scorched Earth. These are all Scorched Earth saddles. We'll just pretend the last drop was the last red drop, because that one wasn't very good at all.
I had to get 1 final drop.
Oh yes, another X saddle. It was worth it.
I made my final preparations, including making tributes to all the big hitters that helped me to get to this day, and even the ones that died in vain.
There you go. That's a good Sparky pose. That's pretty cool. You guys right there. That's great.
It was now day 100, and I had everyone leveled and healed up with the piggy. All there was to do was to gather my things and head to Green Obelisk. I threw out everyone and gave the Theries a few cakes to help. The Rexes were just going to have to bite their way through it. They had Butcher and Hitori as well to lend support in the fight. All my tributes and artifacts were uploaded, and it was now time for me to face the Alpha Grendel for the first time.
Parasaur didn't want it. Send them right in there. Let's courage them up. Ooh, ominous. Is that a T-Rex? That looks like a T-Rex. I'll roll you as you go by.
Some of my guys started the fight without me.
Okay, they're getting in there.
There were a lot of minions about that did bleed damage, so I had to be super careful.
This is not good. Oh, get away from me. I gotta take care of these vultures here. Oh, it's so foggy. You guys need to follow me over here. And hit this thing. Get him. Alright, he's getting them. They're getting them. Some of these guys are not doing so good. Oh, this is going to be a big hit. Big hit. Oh, get off me. Get off me. Oh, no. Get off of me. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Alright, you guys got to go over there or something. Get him. Oh, get me out of here. I'm stuck in the middle of it. Alright, get him. Get him. Alright, we're in it too. Some roars. Think we're doing okay? Alright. We're probably okay. Come over here. Oh, gosh. No! Oh, ow, 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 ow. I am not okay. I'm stuck. Alright, let's heal up real quick. Think we're good for one more go here. Okay, my shoes broke. Alright, guys, come on. We got one more. Come on. I believe in you. Get him. Oh no. Okay, one of them's dead. Come on, run him over. This is it. This is it. Another one down. This is it, though. Come on. Come on. Yes!
I lost 2 dinos and the others were in pretty rough shape, but we defeated Valguero's Alpha Grendel.
Let me get it. Pop. Haha. Oh, you guys are bloody. Oh, these Rexes barely made it. The Theries are over here harvesting berries and stuff. Oh, you guys picking a little snack while you're doing a little boss fighting. Hitoria is so excited. Oh, we beat Alpha Boss Grendel. First try.
I went back home proudly to display my new mountain flag. Even had old Grendel themselves at my side. Now, the only thing left is to rightly rule the kingdom I have built and fought for these last 100 days. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like. And if you stuck around this long, consider subscribing. You might also want to check out some of my other 100 Days videos while you're here. Thanks for watching, and take care.